yes or no. No, there are no more options, only yes or no questions. So you can say, yes, I am, no, I'm not, or yes, you are, no, you aren't, and more, right? So this is one. And we have this, the second group. Always we have groups. The second group is he, she, or it. So for these three subjects or words, you always use is. She, a doctor, is he, a policeman, and more, right? Or is she happy? So you can use adjective and nouns for the verb to be, right? And you can say positive, yes, he is, or not, he isn't, negative, right? So that's about the verb to be for nouns and for adjectives. Let me show you now another examples of the verb to be, right? So in general, the verb to be is used for many questions, but not for verbs. So you can use it for nouns, for adjectives, but not for verbs. So let me show you common example. If you ask about nationality of a person, the only possibility is the verb to be, is or are, or maybe am in some cases. So you can say, are you Peruvian? Is your friend Chinese? For example, so nationality. Also, when you talk about jobs, right? Is he a dentist? A dentist is a job. So you say, is he a dentist? Or are they musicians, right? So also for jobs, you have to use the verb to be to ask a question. Description. Description is adjectives, right? So tall is an adjective, right? Or if they say, for example, blonde. Blonde is the color of your hair, yellow. Yellow hair, that is blonde, right? So is she tall? Are they blonde, right? So for adjectives, any adjectives, you use also the verb to be. For feelings, right? Feelings, for example, hungry is a feeling, happy is a feeling, also is an adjective. So these are adjectives. Description and feelings are adjectives. So remember, you can use the verb to be. And if you ask about the marriage status, right, you can say married or not married, right? You can ask a question. So remember, you can use it for nouns and for adjectives. This description and feelings is adjectives. Nationality and jobs is nouns. So you can use it in both, right? So this is about the verb to be. And as I explained in the book, we have the use of do and does, but they are used only for verbs, right? So in the case of verb to be is for nouns and adjectives, and in the case of do or does is for verbs. For example, again, we have two groups. If you have I, you, we, or they, remember, you always use do for the question and the verb in the basic form, in the infinitive. Infinitive is basic form. So you say, do you watch TV, for example, right? Or do you eat ice cream? Or do you drink water? So many others, right? So any verb, right? And when you answer the short yes no question, you can say yes I do, right? This is important to answer, do. If the question is with do, you have to answer with do, right? Or does, depending on the question. Or no, I don't. Don't is the negative of do, right? So you can say, no, you don't, no, we don't. Or you say, yes, I do, yes, we do, and so on, right? And the other group is for he, she, or it. So for these three words, you always have to use does, right? So does she watch TV, or does she run in the park, or does he play soccer? Okay, anything. But with these three words, you use does, and you can say yes he does, no he doesn't, right, and so on. So remember, you always need to use verbs when you use do and when you use does, right? So that's basically the difference that we have between these verb to be questions and questions with do and does, right? So before we do the exercises in the book, I have these extra exercises for you. So this is a combination of questions with do, does, and the verb to be. So I'll give you some minutes, and if you know any of the answers, you choose any of the answers, you raise your hand, click in the hand, and you can participate. All right, so I'll give you some time to think. And if you want to volunteer, you can click on the hand. Remember, there is a hand, and you click, right? Oh, sorry. So with this, I need other volunteers now to tell me if you think it's correct or if we need to make a change. So I need new volunteers to tell me about this. Let's start with Genesis. Okay, Genesis, what number do you think is incorrect?
3 is do. Do they
Okay.
have a dog? No, they don't.
Okay, thank you. So let me just change this one, right? Okay, just a moment. Do. All right. Do, and then you said they don't. All right, thank you so much. Let's continue with Astrid. Okay, Astrid, what's your opinion?
About number 4 is that your father.
Mm-hmm. And then the other.
Yes.
Okay, so let's put it here. We have, does your father? Yes, he does. All right, thank you. And then we also have Chantal. Okay, Chantal.
Number 7,
Mm-hmm.
Teoria doesn't. No, perdón, does.
Does. Okay. And here?
Um, does.
Okay, thank you so much. So let me just put it here. All right, thank you. And let's continue now with Marco. Marco, is there any other change?
Number 2.
Okay.
Does she Chinese? Yes, she does.
Okay, so let's erase this one there. Thank you. So let me put does. And you say she does. All right, thank you. So just a moment. All right, okay. Thank you. And we also have a Kemner. Okay, Kemner, any other change?
Number 5
Okay.
is does. No,
Does.
do.
Do. Okay. All right. Do. And here?
Yes, she do.
Okay. So let's put it over here. All right. Thank you so much. So let's continue now with Luis. Luis Felipe? Or
Yes.
Luis? Mm-hmm.
Number 6. Does
Okay.
he talk? Yes, he does.
Okay, number 6, right? So just a moment. Okay, so you think it's does, right? Okay, let's change that. Thank you so much. And that's it, right? Okay, so we changed then. Wait, now we have a lot of do and does, and we have only 2 with the verb to be. Let's see, right? Because it's a combination actually. It's like some of them are with a verb to be and some of them are with doing. So let's check together. Let's check first the ones that are correct, right? For example, number 3 is correct, right? Do they have a dog? This is correct, but why? This is correct because we have a verb, have. So remember, every time that you have a verb in a question and the verb is after the noun is, I mean, the pronouns, or you have, in other words, a complete noun. So in this case, after this, you have a verb. So this is correct, right? And when you answer, if the question is with do, and when you answer with no, they, you say no, they don't, right? So this is also correct. Okay, now let's see other that is correct. Number 4 is correct too. Very good. Again, why? Because in this case, you have a verb, drink, and you have this verb after this subject, your father, right? In this case, we have they, and in this case, we have your father. So your father in one word is he. So it's possible, right? So you can say, does he? So does he drink or does your father drink? So your father is a subject, right? Coffee, right? So that's correct. And also when you answer with positive, yes, he does. So that's also correct. Okay, let's check other that is correct. Number 7 is correct, right? So very good, does. Because we have a verb, like. So do and does is for verbs. So you say, does he or does she like your friend? Yes, she does, right? So that's correct, because if the question is with do or does, when you answer, you have to answer with do or does. So yes, she does. And number 8 is correct too, right? Very good. So are you hungry? So why in this case we are using the verb to be? Because we don't have a verb. We have this word, hungry. Hungry is not a verb, it's an adjective, like to eat. You want to eat. You feel hungry. You want to eat. So in that case, it's correct to use the verb to be. And when you answer with the verb to be. So is correct to use with I, right? So all of these are correct. So we need to change the others, right? So for example, in this case, it says his classmates. His classmates is a noun. In other words, it's plural. So classmates is they, right? And we have a verb, play. So if you have a noun or a subject and you have a verb, your only possibility is do or does, right? But in this case, we have they. So for they, the only possibility is do. So do is correct in this one, right? Do they play basketball, right? And if the question is with do, when you answer with do. So say, yes, they do. So let's then correct this one and let's put do, right? Another correction that we have to make is in number 2. We have here a noun or a nationality. So remember, for nationalities or for nouns in general, for adjectives, you have to use do, are or the verb to be, right? So this is not correct. So let's erase this one. And in this case, if it's she, you say is, right? So is she Chinese? Yes, she is, right? Because the question is with is. So in this case, you say yes, she is. Also, number 5, right? We have a noun, cousin. Cousin is not a verb. Remember, do and does is only for verbs. Cousin is not a verb. Cousin is a person, it's a noun. So in that case, it's not possible do and does. You have to say the verb to be. So your cousin is a person, one person. And the answer is she. So it's one, she. So it's is, right? Is your cousin a teacher? Yes, she is, right? So the question is with is, your answer also is with is, right? The same happens in number 6. Tall. Tall is an adjective, it's not a verb. So if it's an adjective, only you have to use the verb to be. So in that case, you can say is, right? Is he? With he, you say is. Is he tall? Yes, he is, right? So let's erase this one and we put it over here, right? And yeah, those are the corrections. So remember, one more time, every time that you have do or does, is only for verbs, right? If you don't have verbs, in that case, you use is or are, maybe, right? So that's it. Okay, class? So this is a general idea. Today we're going to practice with more exercises so we can differentiate what are the verbs, what are adjectives, what are nouns, all right? So let's continue then, and you have more examples in your book. So let's continue on this page, page 27. And in this page 27, we have this section, right? So let's complete this together. For example, we have these yes, no questions. And if we, as you can see, the answer is or the answer is isn't, when you ask the question, is, right? For example, when you say you, as I told you, pilot is a person, right? Or is a job. So in that case, remember, only are you a pilot? And the answer can say, I am, I'm not, for example, right? Or is your job very difficult? Yes, it is. No, it isn't. So in this case, when you talk about nouns, pilot, or when you talk about adjectives, you use the verb to be, right? For the rest of the verbs, for all of the verbs, you have to use do or you have to use does, right? So in this case, you can say does your job. Why are you using does? Because it's your job. Your job is singular, it. So does it make you happy? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't, right? Or in this case, do you have? Have is a verb. So you say, do you have an unusual job? Yes, I do, or no, I don't, right? So these are the general ideas. Let's practice on this page, okay? So let's go to page 140. And in this page, we have different examples that we're going to practice together, right? First of all, you have here a lot of detail in these questions with the verb to be, right? So these are all the types of questions with the verb to be, and these are all the types of answers, short answers, right? And you have examples of questions with do and questions with does. And you have examples of short answers, yes, no questions with this, okay? So let's continue then, let's practice. And we're going to do this exercise number 1, right? So in exercise number 1, again, we have a combination of questions with do, does, are, is, or am. And you have answers. So only one answer is correct for each of the questions. Let me show you the first. The question is, are you a photographer? So the question is with are. The question is with a verb to be. So the answer is F. Why? Because it says, yes, I am. So am is a verb to be. Are is a verb to be. So are you a photographer? Yes, I am, right? So that is correct. So please continue with the others. Identify if the question is with do, with does, with am, or other, and you have to put the correct answer. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes to complete this exercise 1. The verb to be. The verb to be is, am, or are, right? In what cases you use questions with a verb to be? For nouns, in any noun, and any adjective, right? There are many types of nouns and many types of adjectives, right? So this is the correct way. So you have the verb to be, the subject. The subject is the person, animal, place, right? So it can be a pronoun like he, she, it, we, you, they, or the subject can be your father, mother, friends, pets, animals, anything. That's the subject. So when you have the verb to be or the subject, is because the question is about a noun or about an adjective, right? And in what cases you use do and does? Is for the same, you need do and does for a subject, but the difference is that you have a verb, right? So that is the main difference. If you have a verb in your question, you only can use do or does. And if you don't have a verb, you can use is, am, or are, right? Because now an adjective is not a verb. So for the rest, you can use is, am, or are. And only for verbs, you use do and does. So this is what we're practicing, right? To make the difference. So let's continue. This part was excellent, right? So let's continue with the next section. And in the next part, we have this exercise. So again, in this exercise, again, you have a combination of do, does, is, are, but also you have to answer short answer, yes or no, all right? For example, it says, do I know your friend? Know is a verb, so do. I know your friend, and then you say, yes, you do, right? Because the question is with do. So continue, please. And then I'll need some volunteers for this one, all right? So you have 3 minutes to complete this exercise too. Right? Because before, when I show you the extra exercise, there were a lot of incorrect answers, but now everything, almost everything was correct. So that's great. So I think that is more clear now. So as you can see in all of them, it's a combination of questions with do, with does, and questions with the verb to be. So one more time, if you have know is a verb, so you say do. Work is a verb, so you say do also. Or number 5, start. Start is a verb. And if it's film, the film is one, singular, it. So when you eat, you say does it, right? Number 6, have is a verb, so do we. Number 7, we say do because it's plural, sisters is like they, and also like is a verb, right? Or number 8, make is a verb, so you say do our jobs, plural, right? Do they make? And number 10 is like is a verb, so does she like, right? So for the rest, they are not verbs. For example, in number 3, niece is a person, is a noun. So in that case, the verb to be is your niece, right? Or in number 4, Amat is a name of a person. So is he late? That's it, right? Late is an adjective, so you have to use that. Or in number 9, are they nurses? Nurse is a job, is a person. So in that case, you use the verb to be, right? Okay, so to finish, listen and try to write what is the job of Matei and what is the job of him. Okay, let's listen one more time.
Audio 3.3.
I work at a cinema in town, but I don't sell tickets. I'm the piano player. At my cinema, they have a lot of old silent movies, so they need someone to play music. I watch the film and decide what type of music to play. If it's a sad part of the film, I play slow music, but if it's an exciting part, I play it fast.
I am a fire lookout, and I work in a big forest. Fire can be very dangerous here, so my job is to make sure no fires start. I work in a very high tower, so I can see very far. I check the weather on the internet every morning because strong winds can be a big problem. I like my job because the forest is beautiful and quiet.
Okay, so now that we listened, I need again some ideas. So yes, we know that Matei is a musician, but in what place he is a musician and what is the real job of Dane? So any ideas, class? Okay, let me ask one person, right? Let's see.
He's a piano
Manuel, right? Okay, Manuel,
teacher.
continue, please. Yeah.
He's a piano player
And where, in what place he works?
in the cinema.
Very good, right? So he works in the cinema. Very good, excellent. So yes, that's it. And now we can find the connection. Remember that before, this is a connection. We only have music and cinema, and we have the picture. And as your partner, Manuel, right, mentioned, we have, right? He's a musician, but specifically, he's a piano player. We can see that he's playing the piano. And the cinema is the place. He works in a cinema and he plays the piano in the cinema, right? Now, let's see the other. Chantal, what is the job of this woman?
Diana works in a big forest.
And what is the name of the job?
I don't know.
All right. Okay, but this is correct, right? Excellent. So yes, in the picture, we can see that it's green. And as Chantal mentioned, she works in a forest, right? Very good. But we still need to mention the name of the job. Anybody heard what is the name of the job of Dana? Any ideas? The job is connected to fire and weather. Okay, so no ideas, all right, that's fine. Look, I'll show you, all right, some extra ideas for this. But so far we have, I think, the information of Mate. So let me show you here some other ideas about these jobs. As we said, so the job of this person is to play the music in these movies. Look, this is a cinema piano player. That is the name, cinema piano player. So as you can see, this is the movie, very old, many years ago, and this is a pianist, right? So the piano player at the same time of the movie plays the piano live, right? So that is an unusual job, and that is the job of Matei, right? Let me tell you about the job of Dana. This is a forest, right? As one of you mentioned, yes, she works in a forest. So as you can see in the forest, there are many trees, right? Lots of trees, lots of vegetation, right? And the job of Dana is this, fire lookout. What is a fire lookout? A fire lookout works in a place similar to this. So a fire lookout has to, as the word says, look, has to look if there is fire in the forest, right? So that is the job. It's unusual job, but it exists, right? For example, this is fire. It's very common to have fire in the forest. So, and you know, this is very dangerous for nature. So to avoid this, to stop maybe this fire, Dana, the woman, she works as a fire lookout. So she has to check the weather. She has to check if there is fire. So she can call and she can say, right? And so they can do stop maybe the fire, right? So these are the two jobs of the people, fire lookout for Dana and cinema piano player for the man, for Matei, right? Okay, so now we continue with this and we're going to have this part, right? So we're going to listen, all right, to check. But before we listen, I want you to think of the possible words to complete. You have to use does or do maybe, or you have to use is or are, but also you need to use a verb. For example, in number 1, you have to use does. If you use does, you need a verb. It says at the cinema. So what is possible? We know that he worked, right? So does Matei work, right? Very good, work. So does Matei work at the cinema? And let's remember, if the question is with does, when you answer, you say, yes, he does, right? So this is one example. So you need to continue, think about the verbs or words in general, and the auxiliary, do or does, is or are, okay? So I'll give you 3 minutes to complete this about the unusual jobs. Excellent, so all of the answers were correct. So as you can see, all of these are with do and does, but number 3 is not with do and does. Number 3 is because in this case, it's a police officer, it's a job or a person, right? So I want you to listen to these questions. Listen about the pronunciation. So focus on the pronunciation and the intonation, right? And later we're going to practice about the pronunciation too of this. So let's listen.
Audio 3.4. 1.
Does Mate work at the cinema?
Yes, he does. 2.
Does he always play fast music?
No, he doesn't. 3.
Is Dana a police officer?
No, she isn't. 4.
Does she work in a big office?
No, she doesn't.
5.
Does she enjoy her job?
Yes, she does.
6. Do Dana and Mate have unusual jobs?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so we have this, right, about Dana and Mate. And as you see in these questions, when they pronounce, they focus on there's a special intonation when they speak. So we're going to check this intonation in this part, right? First of all, some of you are pronouncing correctly, but in some cases, you need to check the pronunciation. First, you need to know the pronunciation of this word is only do. That's it, right? Do. Like right? Do. And in this case, the pronunciation is like So you similar. It's not but it's similar. So you say das, right? So remember, do, das, right? And if you have the negative, I'm going to put the negative here. You say don't, as you see it, don't. And the other is this one, right? So the pronunciation here is das, and here is doesn't, right? That's it. Das positive, doesn't negative, all right? So also that's about the pronunciation. So look, this is about when you ask question, complete question. Do and does are not stressed. Stress is like to put like a strong intonation. So they are not stressed, right? They are like soft. But they are stressed in short answers. For example, when you say this question, you don't say, do they like, no, it's only like, do they like their jobs? So they don't put a stress in the auxiliary. They put a stress in the verbs or they put stress in the nouns. So do they like their jobs? So they put a stress here. But when you answer, as it says, in short answers, in that case, you have to put a stress. For example, you say, yes, they do. So you have to put a stress when you answer yes or when you answer no, in short, right? But you don't put stress or intonation when you have this in a question, right? So that's basically the difference that we have. So we have some examples here in this part. So I want you to listen how these people pronounce the questions and the answers. So you can see there, they don't put emphasis in the auxiliaries do or does, but they put emphasis when they answer in these short answers, right? So let's listen only once so you can check.
Audio 3.5. 1.
Do they like their jobs?
Yes, they do.
2. Does he play the piano?
Yes, he does.
3. Does he sell tickets?
No, he doesn't.
4. Do you have a job?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I'm going to put only less stress. They put a stress here, like and jobs, because this is a verb and this is a noun. Or in number 2, they put a stress in play and piano, right? The verb and the noun. Or in number 3, this is a verb and this is the noun, sell tickets, right? And in this case, you have a job. So they put a stress only in this. In the others, it's like this. And when they mention a verb or a noun, they put a stress, right? Also, they put a stress here. When you say yes or when you say no, also they stress. And they stress, in this case, the auxiliaries. Do, or when they say does, or when they say doesn't, and don't, right? So let's practice together, okay? So listen to me only. For example, you say, do they like their jobs? So only you put a stress in like and in jobs. And when you answer, you say, yes, they do. So they put a stress in both, in the yes or in the no, and they put a stress in the auxiliary. In number 2, for example, does he play the piano? So you have play and piano. And when you answer, you can say again, yes, he does, right? So you put emphasis In this, yes and does, right? Or in 3, does he sell tickets? No, he doesn't, right? So you put emphasis. Do you have a job? No, I don't. So this is the emphasis that we put. Maybe it sounds like an exaggeration, but it's not an exaggeration. It's in English, you have to put this emphasis when you speak, right? So you're going to practice in these 2 minutes. Practice this in pairs, right? I'm going to put you in groups or in pairs, and I want you please to put the emphasis in these specific words, all right? So let's practice, and you're going to be in groups of 3 and in groups of 2, right? Okay, so let me just wait. Okay, so you have 2 minutes to practice, right? Exercise 3. So let's go to page 140 and let's check exercise number 3. So this is what we have in exercise 3. You have to complete this conversation about Dana and Beth, and you have to use the correct words, right? So I need some volunteers to check this exercise. Let's start with Chantal. Okay, Chantal, what's the number?
But yes, I am.
Right, that's correct. Thank you, Chantal. Next person is Manuel.
I think number 3 is do. Do you?
You answer with a verb to be. In this case, is the correct verb to be for I, right? Or if the question is with do, right? You can answer with do, or you can answer with the complete question, right? So do you like your job? You can say, yes, I love it, maybe. Or you can say, yes, I do. Both can be possible. And like here, for example, in number 4, do you like your, do you work for time? Yes, I do. So you can answer with do as well. In number 6, the question is with a verb to be, are. So when you answer with a verb to be too, right? And like that. In number 9, for example, is she a nurse? And you say no, and you say she's a doctor. So she's not a nurse, she's a doctor, right? So that was only to practice from yesterday. All right, class? Let's continue now with our new topic for today. So for today, let me just check what we have. We're going to check vocabulary, right? So for that, I want you to go back to your book and just let me check one moment. We were on page 27, I think. So let's check again. Okay, the first word that I want to show you is this. Maybe this is a new word for you. So let me show you what is this word. This is a verb and it's earn. That's a pronunciation. You don't pronounce the letter A. You only say A. So you say earn, right? So earn is a verb. So what is the meaning of earn? Is you receive money for a job that you do, right? So if you say I earn a lot of money, is I receive a lot of money for my job. That is earn, right? You can say I earn a lot of money or I don't earn a lot of money, right? So that is a verb that we have. Another vocabulary is this one, salary. Well, salary is very similar to Spanish, right? And salary is a noun, right? And salary is the money that you receive. So earn is a verb to receive the money, but salary is a noun, right? You can say, for example, his salary is very big. He has a lot of money. Or your salary is very big, right? Or any other thing, but salary. So it's related to the money that you have, right? Another important word for today is this one, retired. Retired is an adjective. So what is retired? Is a person who stopped working. But usually this person, as you can see in the picture, is an old person. So it's a person that is 65 years old or 70 years old. So for these people, you say they are retired, right? You can say, for example, her father is retired. He doesn't work, right? Because he's an old person, like in the picture, right? And another important word to check today is this. For example, this is a factory. Actually, it's a cars factory, Volkswagen factory, right? So it's important to mention this because sometimes we think that in English is fabric, right? Like fabrica, but no, it's factory. Because fabric, as you can see, is a different thing. Fabric is the material of the, for example, this is the material of my clothes, fabric, right? So the word for this is factory, and this is fabric, the material of the clothes, right? So that's different words. And I think, oh, well, that's it, right? Okay, so we're going to check those. And we also have some extra vocabulary in your book. First, you're going to work individually, okay? And you're going to make questions about you or about other people, about this vocabulary here in the classification, and also using these words, right? I mean, it's the same words, I think, right? It's the same words. So using these words, you're going to make questions. For example, if you use this work in an office, right? For example, this is, where is an office? Oh, office, right? Office. So office, the correct one is work, right? Work in an office. So if it's work, you know, it's a verb, work. So you say do. Do you work in an office? So that's a question. Only think of the questions. When you finish about the questions in your groups, you're going to ask the questions to your groups and you're going to answer, right? So now only think about the questions. Only a question. For example, if I say colleagues, maybe the question can be, do you have colleagues? Maybe, right? You can say that. That's maybe a possible. Or earn, let's see. Let me give you an example with earn. You can say maybe, do you earn, but earn is a verb. So do you earn a lot of money, right? Maybe. So try to use all the vocabulary that we have and try to think of questions, right? Okay, so that's it. And when you finish, then you're going to work in groups. So right now, you have 5 minutes to think of all the possible questions using this vocabulary. And then you're going to work in groups. Okay, so you have 5 minutes. Okay, so I think you have some ideas, right? So let's share together. So I need some volunteers. You tell me one of the words and what is the correct question, right? So let me check. Volunteers? Okay, we have Marco. Okay, Marco, what is the word and the question?
Do you work with college? No, I don't. I work alone.
Okay. Oh, but remember, you don't have to tell me the answer, only the question, right? So we have this question here. Do you have another different question? Only the question, not the answer. I mean,
Alone, no?
yeah, alone,
Other
yes.
sentence.
Other question. Other
Ah,
question, please.
okay. Do you work long hours? No. Do you work long hours? No, I don't. I work 5 hours.
Okay, thank you so much. So do you work long hours, right? Okay, that's correct. Thank you so much. Remember, don't tell me the answer. Now, the answer, no. Only the question, right? Okay, thank you, Marco. And we continue with Chantal. Chantal, tell me other example of question, please.
Are you employed?
Right, so that's correct. So let me just write it. Thank you so much. So right over here, are you an employee? Right, that's correct. Thank you so much. Next person is Genesis. Okay, Genesis, what's another question?
Do you like uniform of your job?
Okay, so uniform, right? I think that's fine. So let me put it here. Do you, right? Do you like the uniform of your job. Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much. Next is Kemner. Okay, Kemner, what is other question?
Is work from home. Does
Right.
she like work from home?
Do, because it's for you. So do you, right? Okay, so let me just put it over. I'll put it here, right? So do you work from home? Thank you so much. Next one is Araceli. Okay, Araceli, what is your question?
Do you work part-time?
Right, that's correct. Thank you. So let's put it here, right? Do you work part-time? Right, thank you so much. And the next person, let me check, is Camila. Okay, Camila, what is yours?
Do you work for a big company?
Right, that's correct. Thank you so much. So yes, do again, right? So let me just put it over here. Do you work for a big company? A company, right? Excellent. Thank you so much. Next one is Angela. Okay, Angela, what is the question?
Do you have boss?
Okay, that's correct. So let's just put it over here. Do you have a boss? Right? Very good. Next is Yesire. What is the question?
Are you retired?
Very good. Thank you so much. So let me put it in here. I'm sorry, I don't have space, but are you retired? Right, that's correct. Thank you. Next one is Manuel. Okay, Manuel, what is the other?
Do you work freelance?
That's correct. Thank you. So I'll put it over here, right? Do you work freelance? Right. Thank you. Next, well, we only have salary, right? I think. So any volunteer to tell me what is the correct question with salary? This word? Any ideas? Araceli, what do you think?
Do you have a salary?
Okay, that's right. Thank you. So do you have, yeah, you can say a salary or do you have a big salary or something, right? But that's fine. Okay, that's it. Very good. So look, we have all the questions, right? So in case you didn't have some of them, these are the complete questions, right? So look, in some cases, well, in most of the cases, you have questions with do because you have verbs, right? Work is a verb, so do you work? Or if you have is a verb, so say, do you have? But in the case of retired, retire is not a verb, it's an adjective. So in that case, you say, are you retired? And the same in unemployed, right? You don't say, do you unemployed? No, are you unemployed? Because unemployed is not a verb, it's an adjective, right? But for the rest, you say do. Okay, class. So now that you have all of these questions, you have all the ideas, now you're going to work in groups and you're going to answer, right? For example, if the question is, do you work in an office? And in your case is no, you can say, no, I don't. I work outside, for example. Or you can say, no, I work in my house. Anything, right? So it's your information. So you have to answer with your information. Okay, class? So let's work then in groups. I'll put you together. Just a moment. Right now you are 15, well, 14 actually. So let me just put you in groups. Okay, so you're going to be in groups of 3. So you can ask different questions, okay? For this activity, I'll give you 5 to 6 minutes, okay? Let's start then. We're going to practice in these last minutes how to ask questions with WH questions. For example, what? What is a WH question? And we're going to see more examples of this type of questions. So let me show you first. For this page, we need to check some vocabulary. We need to make sure that we understand this. Well, you know, stand up, right? So that's a verb, stand up, 2 words. And you have also this other verb, sit down. right? So opposite, okay. So this is important because today the first section is about these meetings, right? But look, this is a normal meeting. It's an office meeting. And as you can see, these people are sat down, right? They are not standing up, they're sat down. So this is a normal office meeting. But as you can see in the text in your book, you don't have like the people is not sitting down. They are all standing up. So this is what we're going to see. It's a different type of meeting, right? As you can see in the picture, it says workers in a stand-up meeting. So as we can see in the picture, this is some companies have this type of meetings. They don't want the employers to be like in a normal meeting, like sat. They don't want this. They want people to be up, to be standing up, like in this picture, because these people think that they are more productive, right? They can move, right? So this is one style of reunions, of meeting when you work, right? So about this, we have a text, right? And it says here, Fox stand-up meetings. So this is abbreviation for frequently asked questions, right? So we have these facts stand-up meetings. So these are very, simple questions or questions that are frequently asked about stand-up meetings. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to read this information and we have to think of the correct type of questions. We have different questions. Before we do this, let me show you some ideas about the use of these questions. For example, look, maybe some of you know, but let's check. These are examples of WH. As you can see, the name is WH because in general, all these questions have WH, right? For example, if you ask a question with what, is because you want to know general information, many things, but information. So that is when you use what. If you want to ask question about people or person is one, people is plural, right? In that case, you have to say who. So who do you live with, for example? What are the people in your family? So who. About time, you have two options. You can say when, or you can say what time. The only difference is when you say what time, is because it's a specific time, right? Okay. But if you say when, maybe it's the day. So it's possible. In some cases, both are possible. Then you have where. This question where is for places. So you say, where do you eat? And you say, I eat in my house, or I eat in a restaurant. So places, right? Then you have why. So why is to ask for the reason, right? Usually when the question is with why, you answer with because. Usually, not always, but in general, you answer with because. So why is you want to know the reason of something. And another example is how often. This question, how often, is to talk about the frequency, right? So if I say, how often do you use your mobile phone? Maybe you say every day, or the frequency, or you say sometimes, or you say every minute, like all day I'm with my phone. So the frequency, right? So that's it. And we have more questions, but these are the basic WH questions. So these are the ones that we practice today, right? So let's continue now with this idea. And please check these questions and try to think of what could be the answer. I'll give you the first, okay? For example, number one says, like a normal meeting, a group of people from the same office come together and they discuss work, but they don't sit down, they stand up. As you can see, this is like the general information of these meetings. So the question can be E. So what is question E? This is question E. What is a stand-up meeting? So that is it, right? So that's the first answer. So please continue with the others. Read the definition in each case and choose the best question. Number 1 is letter E. Continue, please. Okay, so I need some volunteers, okay? You tell me what number, from what number 2 to number 7. Let's check. Marco, what's the number that you have?
Number 2, B.
Okay, let's check. Very good. Thank you so much. Let's continue with Araceli.
Number 3, G.
Okay, number 3G. That's correct. Thank you, Araceli. Next one is for Manuel.
I think number 4 is C.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. Next one is Genesis.
Number 5 is A.
Right, that's correct. Thank you, Genesis. Next one is for Marcel.
Yo es el número 5.
Do you have number 6 or number 7?
No.
No? Okay, that's fine. Other than Yesire, do you have number 6 or number 7?
6F.
All right, so F, right? Very good. So the last one, as we know, D. That's the last option, right? Okay, thank you so much. So now that we check this, let's check why, right? So I'll put it here in general mode and pay attention to this part. As we explained before, these questions have different purposes. For example, in 1, this description is a general description. So you have a general question, so then you have what. So that's why it says, what is a stand-up meeting? And you have, it's like a normal, so you explain what is that. In B, it says, they happen in the offices of many countries around the world. They are very common in software companies. And so it says, where do this? Why where? Because this is about places. It says around the world. So it's about different places. So that's where, letter B. In number 3, it says because they, when people stand up, they don't feel comfortable. So as you can see here, we have because, and I told you that when we have because, we have the question why, right? So it's the reason. So you say because. Then in number 4, everyone usually speaks, but sometimes there isn't enough time. So everyone is about people, right? So people, question is who? So who speaks? All the people, everyone. Number 5, companies usually have a stand-up meeting in the morning at about 9 a.m. This is time. So number 5 is time, so you say when. Another option is what time. You can say when, or you can say what time. Number 6, it says they are usually once a week, but in other cases, every day. So this is the frequency. So number 6 is how often. So how often is frequency. And finally, number 7, people talk about 3 things: work from yesterday, plans, and others. So this is D. What does sorry, or maybe only sorry, or you can say I'm afraid not, right? So you have different expressions, right? To say positive answers or negative answers for the requests, right? So let's continue. This is what we have for today. On page 32, we have this exercise, right? This part. So this is what we have. Pay attention, please, to these instructions. You're going to work in pairs or in groups of 3. And what you have to do is, you're going to create a very short conversation. And as you can see here in the instruction, in your short conversation, you have to include requests. Look, it says 3. So you have to include 3 requests in your short conversation. You have two options, okay? So pay attention to the two options that you have. We are not going to do one, all right? So one is not an option. The two options that you have are only those two, okay? You have number two, joining a library, and you also have three, which is staying in a hotel, all right? So only those two options. And in this case, as you have this, let me in number two, it says joining a library. Let's see, I have this picture for you. For example, if you have to imagine that you are in a library and you have to ask requests or questions. For example, you can say this, right? Hello, welcome to the library, for example. And one of you can ask as a request. You can say, excuse me, could I, maybe, if you're in a library, maybe you can say, could I have a book? Maybe this is a possible request in a library, right? Or the person, when you answer, you can say yes or no. You can say yes, of course, or you can say no, I'm sorry, or I'm afraid not, right? And you can continue with a second request. And you can say, okay, and then a second request. So what is a possible request, a possible question to ask when you are in a library, right? So you have to imagine three questions, three requests when you are in a library. So let's remember, a request is permission for something, a favor, or only information in general. And you have to use could or can, both, right? So that is one option. The second option is to imagine that you are in a hotel. So one of you is the receptionist and the other person is, the person that goes to the hotel. So imagine that you are in a hotel. So one of you can say, hello, welcome to the hotel. How can I help you, for example? And you can ask the first request. You can say, thank you. Could I, okay, if you are in a hotel, the most logical question maybe is, could I have a room, right? Because if you go to a hotel, you want a room. So maybe you can say, could I have a room, for example? And then the other person can say yes or no, right? So yes, sure, or no, I'm sorry. It depends. It's your option. And then you continue with a second request, right? So you ask another question. So three, you have to write three requests, right, for your conversation. Remember, two options, the hotel, three questions, three requests for the hotel, or the second option is the library, okay? So you have those two. And so you're going to work in groups to create this mini conversation. Remember, as it's here in the instruction, this is on page number 32. So you can use these examples here, right? To answer positive, you have these examples. To answer negative, you have these examples. And remember that you have to use can or could, and you have these two options, the library or the hotel. Okay, class? So any questions before we work? Is it clear? Do you have any questions to repeat maybe?
Andrea,
No?
again,
Okay,
maybe.
so it's clear. Okay, so I'm going to put you in pairs, okay? You are 12, so it's in pairs, and for this, you're going to have 5 minutes to create your short conversation. Remember, 3 requests, right? Okay, let's start. Okay, one moment, please. Let's see. Time, especially to practice the pronunciation, right? For example, let's remember here in this part, this word, the pronunciation is could, right? So let me write it over here. For example, when you write, it's like you put L, could, but the pronunciation is like this, you see? So it's not could, you don't pronounce the L. You only say could, right? So it's can and could. So you can say, could I start the meeting, or could I register in the hotel, or could I have a book, please? and more, right? So could is that word. And then we have this. So for example, here is yes, of course. That is the pronunciation, only O. So you say course, or the other you say that's fine. Or in this case, the pronunciation is like sh. That is the sound, sh. So you say sure, right? This one, sure. In this case, the pronunciation is I'm afraid. So you have to pronounce like A. So you say I'm afraid not. And then you have I'm sorry, right? Okay, so let's practice one more time. I'll give you 2 or 3 extra minutes so you can practice in your groups, okay? So let me put you again. So I'll give you this extra time to practice. Okay, class, so let's see. Again, we have, or you have these 2 options, right? It's simple. You have to ask 3 requests, 3 questions using can or could to ask for information, for permission, or for a favor. And you have only these 2 options, right? So we had joining a library, or the second option is staying in a hotel, right? So now I need volunteers, some participation to tell me your short conversation with your requests. So let me check. Any volunteers to start? Okay, let me ask one, right? So we're going to start with, let me see, Marco, right? Okay, Marco, let me see. You worked um, with with Araceli, right? Okay.
Yes, yes, teacher. Mm. Hello, welcome to the library.
Thank you. Excuse me. A book on English?
Mm. Yes, of course. Teacher, aquí después lo tengo que hacer al revés. O sea, ya primero.
Okay, yeah. The important thing is that it's 3 requests. So we have 1 request. We have 2 more.
Ah,
Eh, Teacher, disculpe,
Yes.
no le pude entender bien en la explicación anterior porque el internet me estuvo fallando y tampoco pude tomar apuntes. Entonces, la verdad es como que yo estoy fallando en este momento.
Okay, so listen, you have to think of, as I said, 3 requests as we checked before. So a request is question, right? But the question is specifically with this. I mean, what type of questions or what type of requests you can ask with can and could in these 2 situations. You have joining a library, that is one option. And the second option is staying in a hotel. So as I showed you here, this example, if you decide the library, maybe you can say like, hello, welcome to the library, right? And you can say the first question maybe or request is, excuse me, could I have a book, or could I have an English book, please? Maybe. It's an example, right? And then you continue with 3. In total, you have to ask 3 requests and 3 answers, right? And the answers can be positive. I mean, you can say yes, of course, sure. Or maybe you say no, and it can be like negative answer, right? So maybe I can give you like some extra time for later, okay? So we can continue maybe with other pair, okay? So I'll call you in a moment, all right? So Marco and Araceli. So let's continue with other people. So let me ask, let's see, we have Manuel. Okay, Manuel, you worked with what person?
With Genesis.
Okay, so Manuel and Genesis. Okay, what is your situation, the library or the hotel?
A library.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
The library. Pero teacher, lo hicimos no como si estuviéramos uniendo.
Okay, ¿cómo? I don't understand.
Sino como si fuera un estudiante, o sea, como un
la
estudiante
biblioteca.
nuevo, algo así.
En la
Okay, well,
biblioteca.
that's fine.
Exacto.
But you have the three. You have the three requests? Yes? Okay, that's fine.
Yes, yes. A ver. Sorry, can I sit here, please?
Yes, of course.
Could you give me the password of the computer?
Sorry, but I don't know.
Okay, don't worry. Can you lend me your pencil?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
All right, that's fine. So yes, it was very good actually. You have the three requests, right? And in your case, Leah, it's not like a receptionist or a person, but both are students, which is positive too, right? Okay, thank you so much. So those are good examples. You use can or could, right, to ask for. You ask for favors and permission because you said, "Can I sit here?" So this is a permission, right? So that's correct. Also, you said, can I ask you the password or something? So information. And the last one is, can I have a pen? Something like that. So is this a favor or permission, right? Very good. Thank you, you two. And we have now other partner. Let me ask now Camila. Okay, Camila, so you work with Yesire, right? Okay. What is your situation, a library or the hotel?
Teacher, nosotros hicimos de otra forma, formulamos oraciones.
Yeah, but you have the three requests, the questions and the answers. Do you have that? Okay, so thank you. So that's Camila and Jessica. Any maybe volunteers that we have? I don't know if what was the first one? Marco, right? And who was the partner of Marco? I don't know if you are ready or not with Araceli.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. All right.
Okay. Hello, welcome to the library.
Thank you. Excuse me. Can
¿Lo
I
puedes
get
hacer al revés? ¿Normal?
oh, sí. Bueno, yes. Yes, of course. Could I get an English book?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Hello. Welcome to the library.
Thank you. Excuse me. Can I sit here, please?
And I'm afraid not.
Okay. Can you open the window, please?
Yes, of course. Ahora al revés.
Okay. Hello, welcome to the library.
Thank you. Excuse me. Could no. Can I order a book at home?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So you finished
Yes.
or not? Yes. Okay. All right. So yes, I listen both of you questions from you. I think it's okay. It was kind of disorganized, but I think
Yes.
you asked the question. So it's the most important part in this exercise is to ask the questions, right? So we are practicing, okay? So don't worry. Okay, thank you for your participation and thank you for all the people here that participated, right? So remember, the most important part here, class, is that when you, I mean, these are questions, But specifically, as we can see, the name of these questions are requests. So one more time, we ask these requests to ask for permission or to ask for general information or to ask for a favor, right? In those cases, we can have these requests, right? So remember that when you ask requests, it's important to use can or could, both, right? So you always start with this. This is the first word, and then you continue with your question, right? And these are the possible answers, positive answers or negative answers, right? Okay, so thank you so much for your participation. And talking about this, the writing that we have today is a short writing, but the writing is about these requests. So it's important to practice this, right? So let's continue on the next page to check what is the writing that we have. Look, on page 33, we have this section. So the writing is about an email, as you can see. So it says opening and closing an email. And in your email, you have to include a request. So we're going to first practice with these examples, and then you can do your writing, okay? So look, we have here three examples of short emails. This is the first email. It says, Dear Ricardo, and then you have all the information, and you have best wishes, Tanit. So Tanit is the name of the person that is writing. In number 2, it says, Dear Mrs. Zamit. And then you have the information, and then it says, Yours sincerely, Takashi Ito, for example. And in number 3, it says, Hello, Rose. You have the information, and then it says, Love, Sally. So you have these 3 emails. So what do you have to do? Read the information, please, and you have to match what is the correct answer from the options A, B, or C. If you think that this email that is from to Ricardo from Tanit is letter B, you're going to put here B. Or in number 2, if you think that the response for this email is letter A, you put here letter A. So I'll give you 5 minutes so you can read information from 1 to 3 and the information from A to C and match the questions to the answers or the emails together. Okay? So this is on page 33. Okay? You can continue. Okay, let's check some ideas, right? So remember, only tell me the letter. You have A, B, or C. What is the response for this email? Let's start with Araceli. Okay, Araceli, what number do you have?
Number 1, letter B.
Okay, let's check together. Excellent, that's correct. Thank you, Araceli. We continue now with Astrid.
Okay, letter C about number 2.
Okay, so let's check together. That's correct. Thank you so much. So finally, we know that letter A is number 3, right? Let's check why, okay? So maybe you have different ideas. Let's see. In this case, we have this email and it says, Dear Ricardo, I hope you're well. Could you let me know when you are free? So this person wants to know if the person is free. Says, thank you for your email. Can we meet on Friday? I'm free. So it says free and also free. Also, it talks about meeting and it says also meet. So we have some ideas there, right? Let's check now number 2. It says here, Dear Mrs. Zamit, I'm writing about the weekend photography course, and then you continue. So photography course, it says here, thank you for your interest in that course. So what is a course? Is a photography course, right? So we have those ideas. And finally, it says, how are you? I have a question. Can I bring my brother to your party? So this is the request. So the brother to go here. And the answer is yes, of course, your brother can come. So this is the answer, right? So we have these first answers. Now, let's continue with the second part. You are going to complete the spaces. Look, in letter A, you have 3 spaces, 1, 2, and 3, and you have to complete some information. In letter B, you have to complete 4 and 5, and in letter C, you have to complete 6, 7, and 8. So we're going to complete this, but pay attention to how you complete. Look, this information is important for today, for your writings, right? So in this case, we have some vocabulary when you open and when you close. In other words, when you say that you open an email, it's like to say hello, you open, hello. And when you close your email, it's like to say bye, right? So you open with hello and you close with bye. But in this case, we have like synonyms or other words that we can use in emails. So you have different types of emails. We can have formal emails and we can have informal emails. So if it's a friend or a family member, you can use an informal email. So you can say maybe, hi, hello, right? And you can put the name of the person, right? So hi, Johan, hello, Johan, and so on. And when you close, when you finish your message, your email, you can say all the best, or you can say love, right? So this is examples that you can use when you write informal email. When it's formal, as you can see, it's different. You don't, in a formal email, you don't say hello or hi. You say dear, and also you can use this. You can say Mr. if it's a man, or Mrs. if it's a woman, and the same for this. This is also for a woman, right? But also, if you use this formal email, you don't say the name, you say the last name. For example, in my case, my name is Arali, and my last name is Garcia. So if it's formal, you say Mrs. Garcia. You don't say Mrs. Arali. No, the name, no, the last name. So in my case, is Garcia, for example. So this is important to remember in formal email, right? And when you finish your email, you have to use this expression, yours sincerely. You don't say bye. No, bye is for informal. You can say yours sincerely. And also, in both cases, in formal or informal, you can also use this. Look, dear, and the name of the person. And at the end, you can say best wishes, or you can say regards. So this is like neutral style. It can be formal or informal. So this is also correct to use. Okay, so as you can see, we have formal, we have informal expressions, and we have like for both expressions, right? So with this in mind, you have to complete this exercise here, the words. So you have to put the names according to here. You have Ricardo, Tanit, Mrs. Samit, Takashi, Sally, and Rose. So you have to complete with the names of the people and also with the expressions from here on this part. So I'll give you 2 extra minutes so you can finish this exercise. Okay, so we have some volunteers, right? We start with, let me see, Fernando. Okay, Fernando, what do you have? Number.
Okay. B.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. No. B. For their Tanit.
Okay. Number 5.
Number 5. Ricardo.
That's it. Very good. Thank you so much. Yes, that's it. Because here, Ricardo was the one to start the mail. So this is a response, right? And in this case, it says, Dear Tanit. So this is the response of Ricardo. Let's check something here. When you have, and it's important for your writing, and for any writing in general, when you write emails, look, you say, hi, hello, or dear, and look, you have a comma, always. It's like you say, dear Tanit, or hello Tanit, or Mrs., and you say the last name, comma. Always you put a comma, as you can see. In all the cases, right? In number one, you have a comma here, and comma. So this is important. Also, when you finish, in this case, part B, it says regards. And as you can see, you put comma, right? So this is important. When you write an email in English, you put a comma, right? And you put your name at the end, right? Okay, Fernando, thank you. And we have now Genesis. Okay, Genesis, what's the letter?
A.
Okay.
Hi, Sally.
Okay.
All the best.
Yes. And finally?
Rose.
Right, very good, thank you. So yes, you can say all the best or you can say love. Both are possible, right? Very good. And again, class, you have a comma, always comma and comma at the end too. All right, thank you. And finally, let's see, we have Chantal. Okay, Chantal.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
Dear Mr. Ito.
Okay.
Number 7 sería yours sincerely.
And finally?
And number 8, Samit. Elisa
Right.
Samit.
Excellent. Very good, right? Thank you. Yes, actually, like you said, Mr. Ito is correct, actually. I don't know, in the book they consider the name, but again, if you say maybe, if you say Takashi, you say only dear Takashi. But if you say Mr., as you mentioned correctly, you don't say Mr. Takashi, right? You say Mr. Ito. So this is correct too. So you can say Mr. Ito, the last name, or you can say dear Takashi, the name of the person, right? Very good. So as you can see, we have these three examples. The first one is an example of an informal. This is very informal. Also, as you can see, we have an X. So the X represents this, kisses, right? So this is X. So you can say an X that represents like kisses for your friend, right? So you can put this if it's only if it's informal, right? This email here is like neutral, right? It's not formal, it's not informal, it's like neutral. And in letter C, this is a formal email, right? So as you can see, you put yours sincerely when it's formal, right? Okay, class, thank you. So we have these examples, right? So we can continue now with the next part. So this is what you have to do. In your writing of today, you have to do something very similar to this. You have to include requests in your emails. For example, you can say here, let's see, this is a request. Do you see? Could you let me know when you're free for a meeting? So this is an example of a request. So you can say, hello, how are you? And the request, right? In number two, you have another request. You see, could you send me some information about that, please? So that's another request. Can I bring my brother to the party, right? This is another request. So this is what you have to do in your email. You have to write an email following the instruction. In a moment, I'll tell you the instruction. But apart from the instruction, you have to include a request with can or with could, right? So now let me explain about the writing. The writing is here in exercise 10. Look, for this writing, you have to choose, you have three options, but you have to choose only one, right? So look, let's read the instruction together. It says here, look at the request 1 to 3. These are the requests. Choose one. You have three options, one of them, and you have to write a very short email, right? And you decide. It can be a formal email or an informal email, right? The options are ask a colleague to go for lunch or a friend maybe to go for lunch. The second possibility for request is ask a hotel about a car park. So what is a possible question that you can ask in this situation or request? And number three, ask another student to join your study group or to be in your study group, to be part of your study group. So what is a question or a request that you can do? Okay, so these are the three. You choose, is your decision one of the three. You can do number one or number two or number three. let me show you examples, all right, before we start with the writing. Look, if you decide to write an informal email, you can take a picture if you want. You can have these, for example. Hello, Vicky. Maybe it's your friend, so it's informal. So you can say, hello, Vicky, comma. Don't forget the commas, right? Comma. And you can say, hello, how are you? This is an example of any question, right? In your case, you have to write a request. This is just an example, right? And you can say all the best, comma, and you put your name. In this case, Lily is a person. So remember, if it's informal, you can say hi, you can say hello, the commas, don't forget the commas. And when you say, when you finish your mail, you can say all the best, you can say love, right? And comma again. And you put your name. Always you put your name at the end, as you can see. So this is an example of informal. If you want to write a formal email, you can do this example, right? Maybe it's formal, so you say, dear Mr. Smith. So Smith is the last name. So look, this is a request in this case. So I am writing about this. Could you give me some information, please? For example, right? So you have to write a request. And in the end, you can say yours sincerely, comma, and you put your full name. Not only Angelica in this case, but Angelica Lopez, because it's a formal name. So remember, you can use Mr., Mrs., Miss, right? Or only the name, right? And comma, and when you finish, you can say yours sincerely, or you can say also regards, right? And then you put your full name. For example, Angelica Lopez, so your name and your last name. Okay, class? So these are examples of the email. So this is the task. Look. Thank you, Marco. And any other vocabulary that we identify?
Medicine.
Medicine. Okay, Manuel, where is medicine? 1, 2, or 3?
3.
3, yes. Thank you. So yeah, all of these actually is related to medicine, right? So yes, we can put it here. Okay, let's see. Kemner, what's your idea?
Nurse.
Okay.
Number 1.
That's right. Very good. Yes, we can see here a nurse, right? Very good. Thank you so much. Let's continue with Fernando. Fernando, what's your idea?
Painter.
Okay, patient. What is the patient? Picture 1, 2, or 3?
Picture 2.
Right, very good. So yes, this is a patient, the person, right? Very good. So this is a doctor, the person, and this is a patient, right? Very good. Thank you. So let me put here, patient. And we continue with Felipe.
Number 1, reception.
Right, that's correct. Thank you so much. Yes, I mean, this is a nurse and she is working in the reception. That's true. Thank you, Felipe. We continue now with Araceli.
Laptop, number 1, or computer?
Oh, computer, yes. Thank you. So actually, this is a computer, but yeah, we can still like a computer, laptop, right? Thank you. And we have now Camila.
Hospital. Degree.
Okay. Well, hospital, yes, it's actually the three pictures represent the hospital.
Yes.
Degree. Where do you see a degree?
What?
Where is a degree? You said degree, right?
Yes.
Okay, where is the degree?
Picture number 3.
3. So do you think what this is the degree? This one? Okay, listen. The degrees is like similar to diploma. I mean, when you finish your studies, university, usually you receive this diploma or degree. Actually, here, no, these are not degrees. I mean, this is only information that they have maybe about the medicine, right? But what you mentioned before, yeah, I mean, hospital is in the three, actually, three of them, right? Okay, so look, we have some ideas, right? So to continue here, we're going to, I mean, degree is not there. In university, well, we don't see it, right? But we can see the others. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to watch a video, but before we watch a video, let's get familiar with this, right? For example, as you can see here in this part, the second part, as we watch the video, we're going to identify this information, right? And as you can see, we have 8 pieces of information that we have to complete, right? So first I need some volunteers to tell me what is the correct pronunciation of this number 1, number 2, number 3, and the others, right? You have number 4, number 5, yeah. So from 1 to 5, the others you can read it, but I want some ideas how to read this from number 1 until number 5. So any ideas? Any volunteers to tell me? Kemner, what's the number, Kemner?
Number 1
okay.
is 1,000.
Right, thank you. So yes, you say 1,000, right? Very good. Excellent. Yes, so remember class, if you have 3 zeros is 1,000. That's a pronunciation, right? Thank you, Kemner. And we continue with Manuel. Okay, Manuel, what's the number?
Number 2. 36,000.
Right, that's it, right? So it's very similar to the first. You have 3 zeros, so you say 36,000. Thank you. So let me write it here, 36,000. Okay, thank you so much. And let's see, we continue with Camila. Okay, Camila, what is the number?
About number 5.
Okay.
Half past 8.
Okay, so let me put it over here, right? So number 5, you say half past 7, actually. Past 7, right? Very good. So yes, this is one way to say it, 7:30. Also, you have another option, and you can say only 7:30. So you have 2 ways to do it, right? You can say 7:30, or you can say 7:30. Thank you so much, Camila. We have now Araceli. What's the number, Araceli?
Number 4.
Uh-huh.
Past 6.
Right. So you can say, it's very similar to number 5, right? So let me put it here. So you can take 6:30, or you can say also 6:30, right? Very good. Thank you. And we have now Fernando.
Number 8, 9 o'clock.
Okay, so this one, right? Okay, so yes, that's right. So let's put here 9 o'clock. Right, yes, because it's a specific time, so you say o'clock. Thank you, Fernando. And then we continue with Marco.
Number 3, 2001.
Right, that's correct. Thank you. So let me put it here. 2001. 1001, right? Thank you. And well, that's it, right? Okay, thank you. So look, we have the numbers basically. So we have this one, you say 1000, right? This number is 36,000. Then we have 2001 or 2001, both can be possible. This one is two ways to say it, 6:30 or 6:30 a.m., right? Or the same here, you can say 7:30 or you can say 7:30, right? And then this is midday. Midday is like 12, like 11 a.m. and then midday, right? So that is it. And then 3 times a day, and finally 9 o'clock. So look, it's important to identify these numbers or expressions because now we're going to watch the video, and in the video, you have this question: what do these times and numbers from 1 to 8 refer to? For example, imagine that you listen to this number in the video and they say, in this hospital, there are 1,000 people. So you put here people, for example, right? Or maybe they say, people start working maybe at 6:30 a.m. So you could start work, for example. So you're going to pay attention to all these time or expressions, and you're going to complete this, okay? All right, so let's watch the video for the first time and pay attention to complete with specific words from number 1 to number 8, okay? So let me check the sound. All right, let's start.
Arash Faz is a doctor in neurology at Mount Sinai Hospital. He's from Iran, but now he lives in New York City.
My eyes were open.
Mount Sinai is a huge hospital with over 1,000 beds and about 3,500 doctors and student doctors. Around 36,000 people work in its 32 departments. Dr. Faz is a final year resident. That means he is a student doctor in his last year.
But how many quarters in $2?
He has a degree in medicine from a medical school in Tehran, Iran's capital.
Sensory.
He moved to the USA in 2001 because he wanted to study. He now has a PhD from Boston University. So, what does he do each day? He usually gets up at 6:30 and leaves home at 7. He arrives at around 7:30. He checks the new patient list and talks to other doctors. Then he visits his patients. He discusses their illnesses and the medicine they need.
-7. It's strong.
He usually has lunch during his midday meeting, but he doesn't eat a lot because he doesn't have a lot of time. In the afternoon, Dr. Faz usually visits his patients, and with the nurses, he checks that they are okay and have the right medicine. He does this once, twice, even 3 times a day, so he can make sure that everybody has what they need. His days are always very busy, and he often stays late. He sometimes works until 9 p.m. Mount Sinai is an excellent hospital and is famous all over the world. For Dr. Faz, it's very different from hospitals in Iran, which were usually small and not very modern. But both in America and Iran, patients need the same help and care. Dr. Faz enjoys this part of his job. He works hard, but every day he helps people and can really change their lives for the better.
Okay, so we watched this video once. So I need some ideas so we can do this section, right? So any volunteers, you decide any number. Number 1, 2, 3, 8. So, okay, we have Manuel. Manuel, what is your idea?
Number 4.
Okay.
He gets up at 6:30.
Okay, so let's put here the doctor. Okay, he gets up, right? At this time. All right. Thank you, Manuel. We have now Marco. Okay, Marco, what number?
Number 1, number of beds.
Okay, let's put here, so 1,000 beds. All right, thank you, Marco. We have now other numbers. You have number 2, number 3, 5, 6, 7, or 8. All right, Astrid, right? Okay, Astrid, what do you think?
About number 2, doctors and students.
Okay, so let me put doctors, like doctors and students. All right, thank you, Astrid. We have now other volunteers, number 3, number 5, 6, 7, 8. Other thing that you recognized from the video? Felipe, what's your idea?
Number 8. 9 p.m. finish job.
Okay, so let's put here finishes work. Okay, possible. Thank you. And any other idea? We have 2001, 7:30, or 7:30, midday, 3 times a day. Genesis, what's your idea?
Number 6, lunch. Have a lunch.
Okay, so he has lunch. Okay, thank you. And let's have now number 3, number 5, or number 7. So any extra ideas, class? Fernando, what's your idea?
Number 5 is go to the work.
Okay, let's see. Let's put here. Goes to work. All right. Thank you, Fernando. And we need number 3, 2001, and number 7, 3 times a day. Any extra volunteers? Okay, so it's fine. We have a lot of ideas actually. So let's check together. It says, you told me 1,000 beds, 33,000 doctors and students. You told me that the doctor gets up at this time, 6:30, or that the doctor goes to work at 7:30 or 7:30. In midday, he has lunch. And also you said at 9 p.m. he finishes working, right? Okay, so we're going to watch for the second time. And this time you are going to check if this is correct or not. And also pay attention specifically to number 3, because you never told me. So number 3, what happens in this year, 2001? And number 7, what is it that the doctor does 3 times a day? Okay, so let's watch again so we can see, right? Just a moment. Okay, let's see.
Arash Faz is a doctor in neurology at Mount Sinai Hospital. He's from Iran, but now he lives in New York City.
My eyes were open.
Mount Sinai is a huge hospital with over 1,000 beds and about 3,500 doctors and student doctors. Around 36,000 people work in its 32 departments. Dr. Faz is a final year resident. That That means he is a student doctor in his last year.
But how many quarters in $2?
He has a degree in medicine from a medical school in Tehran, Iran's capital.
Sensory.
He moved to the USA in 2001 because he wanted to study. He now has a PhD from Boston University. So, what does he do each day? He usually gets up at 6:30 and leaves home at 7. He arrives at around 7:30. He checks the new patient list and talks to other doctors. Then he visits his patients. He discusses their illnesses and the medicine they need.
-7. It's strong.
He usually has lunch during his midday meeting, but he doesn't eat a lot because he doesn't have a lot of time. In the afternoon, Dr. Faz usually visits his patients, and with the nurses, he checks that they are okay and have the right medicine. He does this once, twice, even 3 times a day, so he can make sure that everybody has what they need. His days are always very busy, and he often stays late. He sometimes works until 9 p.m.
Drunk like this is a bit
Mount Sinai is an excellent hospital and is famous all over the world. For Dr. Faz, it's very different from hospitals in Iran, which were usually small and not very modern. But both in America and Iran, patients need the same help and care. Dr. Faz enjoys this part of his job. He works hard, but every day he helps people and can really change their lives for the better.
Okay, so wait, I'm sorry, I erased the answers before. I'm going to put it again, right? You told me beds here. You told me doctors and patients. And you said here he gets up, right? And he was here and goes to work, he said, right? Goes to work. You also said has lunch here. And he finishes, right? Finishes work or working. Okay, so this is the answers that you have. Any extra volunteers to tell me number 3, number 7, or to make any correction to any number? Let's see. Manuel, what is your idea?
Number 3.
Okay.
He moved to USA.
Right. Okay, so let's put he moved to the USA. All right. Thank you so much. And I need now a volunteer about number 7 or to tell me any correction in other information. Marco, what is your idea?
Number 7.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor visits his patients.
Okay, so let's put it here. He visits his patients. Okay, thank you so much. And let's check if you have any correction. Kemner, what other idea do you have?
Correction number 2 is work people.
Number 2. What is it? What is the answer? Can you repeat?
Work people.
Work. I mean, people that work. Workers. You said people that work. Okay. So let's put here another like a slash, so we can put extra, right? So like workers. Okay. So thank you. I'm going to put this one here. And Marcel, any extra change?
Number 2 is doctors and students doctors.
Okay, so let me put it over here. Let's put here doctors and student doctors. Okay, all right. I'm going to put this one number 2. Thank you so much. And okay, so I think that there's no other changes, right? So let me tell you the answers. This is correct, right? Yes. In the video, they mentioned there are 1,000 beds. Okay. About number 2, well, number 2 is I can consider all of the answers correct because Yeah, they say there are 36,000 people that work there, as Kemner mentioned. So you can say workers, but also these workers include the doctors, not the patients. Oh, students. You didn't say patients, right? I think other you said students. It's my mistake. So it's doctors and student doctors, right? Or a student. So yes, let me just erase this. But I think this is my mistake. So I'm going to put it over here, right? So yes, you said doctors and students, or more specifically, they are students, but they are student doctors, as also some people mentioned, right? So actually, this person is studying to finish. He's in the last year to finish, so he can become a doctor. So now he is a student doctor, this person. So yeah, this is also correct. All of the answers actually are correct. In 2001, he moved to the USA. That's true. He's not from the USA, but he traveled and now he lives in the USA, right? So this is correct. At this time, 6:30, he gets up. That's true. Or he wakes up. Number 5 is not correct, actually. I mean, a little bit. He doesn't go to work at 7:30. He arrives to work. So it's different. When you say that you go to work, it's like, now I am in my house, and at this time, 7:30, and this time I go. And maybe I arrive at 8, 8:30. But no, in this case, at this time, he is in the hospital at this time. So actually, it's not goes, it's like arrives. So let me change this one here. So let's put he arrives, right? Arrives. So he is in the hospital at this time, 7:30. And then he eats or he has lunch at midday, that's right? 3 times a day, he visits the patient, actually. Or you can say he checks patients 3 times a day, right? So he checks that all is okay. And at this time, he finishes working, right? That's correct. Very good. So everything is right. Okay, so this is about information of this doctor. And this is the first part. We're going to do now the second part. In this second part, we're going to complete with more information. So let's check the second section here. This is what we have, right? So in this second section, you have to, okay, let me erase this. You have to complete with specific words from the video. So you can complete these sentences, right? Here, this information. I'm going to tell you letter A and letter B, and then you can continue, right? For example, it says, Araj Fasal is in neurology at Mount Sinai Hospital. So this is a doctor. I mean, he's studying, but he's working as a doctor in this hospital. So yes, he's a doctor. And the country of this person is Iran. He originally is from Iran, but now he lives, as we checked, in the USA. Specifically, he lives in New York, right? Okay, so this is some information about this person. So we're going to watch the video for the last time. And this time, only listen. Don't watch. I mean, only listen so you can concentrate on the answers, right? For example, in letter C, he is and then doctor in his last year. He moved to the USA in 2001 because you complete. Araj Faisal has a PhD from Boston. And then when he visits his patient, he discusses their illnesses and that they need. At lunchtime, he doesn't eat a lot because and then you have his days are always, and then we have Mount Sinai is all over the world. And finally, he enjoys his job because every day he and can really their lives. So we have these spaces to complete. Okay, so we're going to watch or listen for the last time and complete with specific words. Okay, so let's check. Wait. Okay.
Arash Faz is a doctor in neurology at Mount Sinai Hospital. He's from Iran, But now he lives in New York City.
My eyes were open.
Mount Sinai is a huge hospital with over 1,000 beds and about 3,500 doctors and student doctors. Around 36,000 people work in its 32 departments. Dr. Faz is a final year resident. That means he is a student doctor in his last year.
But how many quarters in 2000?
He has a degree in medicine from a medical school in Tehran, Iran's capital.
Sensory.
He moved to the USA in 2001 because he wanted to study. He now has a PhD from Boston University. So, what does he do each day? He usually gets up at 6:30 and leaves home at 7. He arrives at around 7:30. He checks the new patient list and talks to other doctors. Then he visits his patients. He discusses their illnesses and the medicine they need.
-7. It's strong.
He usually has lunch during his midday meeting, but he doesn't eat a lot because he doesn't have a lot of time. In the afternoon, Dr. Faz usually visits his patients, and with the nurses, he checks that they are okay and have the right medicine. He does this once, twice, even 3 times a day, so he can make sure that everybody has what they need. His days are always very busy, and he often stays late. He sometimes works until 9 p.m. Mount Sinai is an excellent hospital and is famous all over the world. For Dr. Faz, it's very different from hospitals in Iran, which were usually small and not very modern. But both in America and Iran, patients need the same help and care. Dr. Faz enjoys this part of his job. He works hard, but every day he helps people and can really change their lives for the better.
Okay, so I need some ideas, right? We have the answers for A and B, so I need the answers from the other letters. Let me see. Niobi, what's your idea? What letter?
Letter E.
Okay.
Flash has a PhD from Boston University.
Okay, thank you. So let me put it over here, right? Thank you so much. And university, right. Thank you, Niobi. And then we have Felipe. Okay, Felipe.
Letter D. He moved to the USA in 2001 because he wanted to study.
Okay, so let's put here study. Thank you so much. Next one is Genesis.
F. When he visits his patient, he discusses their illness and the medicine they need.
Okay, thank you. So let me put medicine, right? Thank you. And we have now Angel.
Number I. Mount Sinai is famous all over the world.
Okay, thank you. So let me put here famous. Thank you so much. And we continue now with Manuel.
J.
Letter J, okay.
He enjoys his job because every day he helps and can really change their lives.
Okay, thank you. So we put helps and then we put change, right? Thank you so much. We have now Marco. Okay, Marco.
Letter C. He is a student doctor in his last year.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, letter C. And we have now to complete letter, what letter is needed? Letter G, right? So letter G and letter H. So any volunteer for letter G or letter H?
Andrea, para que aprendas, ¿ya? Una vez que te llamo cualquier número desconocido, primero tienes que dejar que hable primero. ¿Ya? Y de ahí hablas.
Okay, so
Yeah.
no ideas for, okay, let's check the
Para
other,
que sepas.
right? So I think that all of the answers are correct actually. So
¿Te
you
has
can see
escuchado entonces?
he's a student doctor, he's asking, that's correct. So let me just put it over here. And then he moved to the USA in 2001
Para que
because he
sepas,
wanted
Andrea.
to study, that's correct. And then Araj Vasal has a PhD from Boston University, that's correct. And then you have when he visits patients, he discusses their illnesses and the medicine they need. Very good. And then in letter I, Mount Sinai is famous all over the world. So here we have two adjectives, but it's correct, famous, right? Is an excellent hospital and is famous, both. But famous is correct, right? And then he enjoys his job because every day he helps and change the patients or their lives, right? Very good. Both are correct. So actually, the answers for letter G in this case is at lunchtime, he doesn't eat a lot because he doesn't have time. So that's the reason. He doesn't have a lot of time. So he eats something like very small, like fast, right? And finally, his days are always, and you need an adjective, they are busy. They are very busy. He always have activities to do during the day. So he is a busy person or his days are very busy, right? Okay, so as you can see, all of the answers that you told me were correct, right? So we only needed to check letter G and letter H, right? Okay, thank you so much for the people that participated here. So listen, this exercise is very important. I mean, listening is always important because when we listen is the only way to practice, right? To get familiar with the language, to get familiar with more vocabulary, pronunciation. So it's always important to do this part, right? Okay, good. So we finish here with the video session part. And now we're going to start with the review, right? So please, let's go to the next page. So this is about the video part. And we're going to remember today all the aspects that we have practiced in this unit number 3. We finished today unit number 3. So let's see what things we're going to remember. For example, we are going to remember today how to, well, we're going to check vocabulary first. Also, apart from the vocabulary, we are going to remember how to make questions with do and or does maybe, and how to make questions with a verb to be, with are or with is or am. So this is what we're going to remember today. Also, we're going to remember in what cases we use these WH questions. For example, what, where, what, why, when. So we're going to check this to remember this. Also, we're going to check this vocabulary part, especially about jobs. For example, hairdresser, musician, mechanic, and more, right? So we're going to check this. And at the same time, we have words of vocabulary. For example, earn, work part-time, or have a boss, or colleagues, and others, right? We also are going to check some definitions. We're going to have a listening, very short listening, as you can see here. And we're going to practice with some definitions of jobs again. And finally, we're going to remember about requests. So request with can or could. How to ask for a favor, or when you ask permission, or when you ask for information, maybe, right? So these are the specific topics that we have practiced in this unit 3. So let's start with the first exercise, right? So look, exercise 1. This is what we have. First, you have vocabulary, for example, retired, uniform, student, and you have to put the correct words in this part. For example, if I say number 1, work in, and first of all, it said an, so we need a vowel, remember, a vowel sound. So the options are only office, uniform, or hours. But this is related to a place. So you can say this is in an office, for example, right? So this is number 1. So you continue with the others, all right? And when you finish, you are going to have this. You have to think of the question, the correct question to ask for each of them, right? for example, they give you here the answer. It says, do you have a lot of meetings, right? So this corresponds to number 2. So we have the answer also in number 2. It says, have a lot of meetings. Why in this case I use do? Let's remember, because this is a verb. Remember, class? So if you have a verb, have, the question is with do, or in this case, do you, right? So this is what you're going to do. I'll give you 1 minute to, or maybe now you can tell me, right, what are the answers of the vocabulary, and then you have like 2 minutes to write the correct questions, okay? So any ideas how to complete number 1, the first section? We have the first 2 answers. It says work in an office, and number 2, have a lot of meetings. So any other idea of the other words? Marco, what do you think?
Number 3, be a student.
Right, that's correct. Thank you, Marco. And we have now Genesis.
Number 4, wear a uniform.
Right, that's correct. Thank you so much. And we continue with Manuel.
Number 5, work long hours.
Hours, that's fine. Thank you. And Yesire, can you tell me the last one, please?
Little direct.
Right, that's correct. Thank you so much. So look, this is the easiest part, right? So we have identified or remember the correct words that go together. But now the second part is you have to ask questions, right? And the questions, for example, if you have a verb, you can use questions with do you, right? But if it's not do, if it's the verb to be, for example, what type of, how do you make a question? So we're going to remember that. So I'll give you 2 minutes or 3 to write the correct questions for number 1 until number 6. This is an example for number 2, right? So in this case, I'm going to put here number 2, because this is the answer for this one, right? The question. So I need you to write questions for 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes so you can complete this part. Okay, so I think that you have enough time. Listen, pay attention to this part. I need 5 people only, and this time, these people, you are going to type, all right? To type the answer in these spaces. So this is the space for 1. Number 2, no, because number 2, we have an example, right? In number 2, the correct question is, do you have a lot of meetings, right, for this? So I need number 1, number 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let me check. I need 5 volunteers, please, so you can type here. Okay, so number 1 is going to be Genesis. Number 3 is going to be Manuel. Number 4, Fernando. Number 5, Marco. And I need 1 more for number 6.
Number 1 is, do you work in an office?
All right, but look, Genesis, can you type? I need you to type your answers, right? In the space, look, you're number 1, right? Can you please type here, number 1? And Manuel, you can type here in number 3, your answers. And Fernando, please, number 4. Marco, number 5. And Yesire, number 6. Remember, we type, there is a box that is in green, and it says Arari Garcia is sharing the screen. Next to this green box, I explained, I think, the first class, you have options, view options. So you click in view options, and you have to click in the part that says annotation or annotate. So you click, and then you have options, and you can type, right? Okay, so continue, please, the people that I mentioned in the numbers that you have here. Okay, we have the answer from Manuel, right? And from Desiree. Okay, so I need the answer from the other, please. We have 1, 4, and 5. Okay, I have the answer of Genesis, and I need the answer of number 4 and number 5. So I think that is Fernando number 4, right? And Marco is number 5. Okay, so I need only the answer of Fernando. Okay, while we wait for the answer of Fernando, let's check, right? For example, number 2, or number 1, sorry, it says work in an office. So yes, work is a verb, right? So yes, it's correct to say, do you work in an office, right? So this is from Genesis. That's correct, Genesis. Thank you. And let's check number 3. Okay, in this case, we have the verb to be. So the verb to be is special. So it's not possible to say, do you be a student? No. But you can say, are you a student? Excellent. So in this case, remember, if you have the verb to be, it's a special verb. And if the question is for you, you say, are you, right? Okay, number 5, it says work long hours. Yes, work is a verb. So you say, do they work or do you? The question is for you. So you say, do you work long hours? Okay, that's fine too. And number 6, it says, again, the verb to be. So the only possibility for the verb to be, if the question is for you, you say, are you, right? That's correct. Okay, so Fernando, maybe you had a problem. You can tell me maybe, Fernando, what is the answer in number 4? So I'll type it. Fernando, can you tell me the answer in number 4 so I can type it? Okay, that's fine. But you you raised a hand. I thought you had the answer. Okay, that's fine. Let me tell you the answer. Look, in the case of wear a uniform, wear is a verb. So if it's a verb, then you can say again do, right? So you can say, do you wear a uniform? Because it's a question with a verb, a normal verb. So you can say only that, right? Okay, so look, we have remembered, well, a little of in what cases we use questions with do, in this case, or does. Do and does is possible. In this case, we use do because all the questions are for you. So when you use the word you, the only possibility is do, right? So in that case, we have this. So let's now let me check only one word, as this is for that. We're going to practice these questions in groups, right? So all the question is for you, so I'm going to put do you. Okay, so you're going to work in your groups and you have to ask these 6 questions. So the first question is, do you work in an office? You can say, if it's positive, remember, you can say, yes, I do. Look at the example. Yes, I do. Or if it's negative, you can say, no, I don't, right? Or in the question with the verb to be, number 3, for example, are you a student? So the question is with are, with the verb to be. So if I answer, I can say, yes, I am, or I can say, no, I'm not. And then I can give maybe extra information, right? And like this. So it's important to consider if the question is with do or if the question is with the verb to be. Okay, so you have these 6 questions. So you can ask these questions and answer in your groups. Okay, class? So let me put you in groups or in pairs so you can practice this part, right? Okay, so I'll give you some time so you can start. Okay? Okay, so welcome again. And now I'm going to ask, so we can practice this last part. some people, right? So only one question for some of you. So we start here with Angela. Okay, Angela, so the question for you is number one. Do you work in an office or you don't work, or in what place do you work?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you work in a different place or you don't work?
No, I don't work.
Okay, so do you study?
Yes, I am.
You do. And what do you study?
I study in the school.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much, Angela, for your answers. And let me now ask Astrid. Astrid, number two, do you have a lot of meetings?
No, I don't.
Okay, so how many meetings or reunions do you have, maybe during the day or during the week?
During the week?
Yes. How many? 2, 3, 1?
Two.
Two. Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Astrid, for your answers.
Thank you.
And we continue now with, okay, let me see, a man. Marcel. Marcel, do you wear a uniform for work, for studies, or other?
No, I don't.
Okay, and what type of clothes do you normally wear?
Sleep.
I mean, what?
Sleep clothes.
Sleep clothes, pajamas. You wear pajamas all day.
Yes.
Okay, so you're with your pajamas now.
Yes.
Okay, so you're very honest. Thank you, Marcel. And we continue now with Yesire. Okay, Yesire, tell me, do you work long hours?
No, I don't have work.
Okay, so do you study long hours?
No. I study 1 hour.
Okay, so you're right now you study only at Britanico.
Yes.
Okay, good. So you can focus all your attention maybe in this language, right? Very good. Thank you, Yesire. And finally, well, okay. So this let's ask one question. This Manuel. Manuel, are you retired? What can you tell me?
No, I'm not.
Okay, yes, obviously, right? Yes, and to remember this one is like, retired is only for people that are old people, like 65, 70 years old. So obviously, none of us are retired, right? Okay, so thank you. So remember, if I think all of you answer correctly, right? So remember, if it's positive and my question is with do, you say, yes, I do. Or if it's negative, you say, no, I don't. Or in the case of the question with are you a student? You can say, yes, I am, or no, I'm not. And that's it, right? Okay, class, so thank you for all your participation. So we can continue with the next section. We're going to remember now these type of questions, right? So questions with where, what, why, who, how often. So I'll give you 2 minutes to do this matching of these questions to these possible answers, okay? Continue, please. This is exercise number 2. Okay, so we have some volunteers, right? We start with Araceli. Okay, Araceli.
Number 1, letter C.
So that's correct. Thank you so much. We continue now with Niobi.
Number 2, letter E.
Okay, let's see. That's right. Thank you so much. We have now Marco.
Number 3, letter A.
Right, that's correct. Thank you, Marco. We continue with Manuel.
Number 4, letter F.
That's right. Thank you, Manuel. We have now Angela.
Number 5, letter B.
Letter B. Right. Thank you. And so finally, Desiree, what's the letter that is missing?
Letter D.
Letter D is missing, right? Very good. Thank you. So look, class, as we see, all of the answers are correct. And just for us to remember one more time, the question one, for example, where do you work? So let's remember where, if the question is where, is for places. So in letter C, it says hospital. So hospital is a place, or restaurant is a place, or school is a place, cinema is a place. So always when you have a place, the question is with where, right? In number two, what time do you start work? So what time, another possibility also is when. You can say when, or you can say what time, and the answer is time. So as you can see, it says 10 p.m., right? And number three, what do you wear to work? So what is for many different things. Usually what is for objects or information in general. So that is what. So in this case, I mean, the question is about where. Where is specifically for clothes. So you wear clothes, right? So in this case, it says uniform, right? And then number four, why do you enjoy your job? So why is always to ask for a reason. So in this case, the reason is here because I go to different countries. Usually when the question is with why, the answer is with because. Not always, but usually you say because, so you explain the reason. Number five, who do you speak to at work? Who is for people, only for people, right? It can be one person or plural. It can be singular or plural, but people with who. And number six, how often do you work? As you can see, every day. So how often is frequency? You can say every day, you can say never, you can say always, you can say 3 times a week, twice a week, twice a month, once a year. Any frequency that you have, you say how often, right? Okay. So now the second section is this. You're going to guess the type of jobs. So we're going to remember now, because these questions are about jobs. For example, if it says number one, letter C, I work in a hospital. Look, it says, maybe you say, I think person one is a nurse. Why? Because it says work in a hospital. So maybe the possibilities are nurse. Any other possibility apart from a nurse? Who else can work in a hospital? Only nurses work in a hospital?
Doctor.
Doctor.
Doctors too, right? So yes, we can say that. So I'm going to put it here. Wait. Se congeló. Okay, wait. I'm going to wait for a moment, all right? Just a moment, wait. It doesn't, let's see. But yeah, it's nurse and doctor, right? But just one moment. Okay. So let me put here. Yep. Okay. So we have nurse and doctor. So please continue. I'll give you 2 minutes maybe to read the other ideas. It says this person wears a uniform, so you know what to do. What possible jobs wear a uniform? So you can write possibilities, all the possible jobs. Or I speak to customers. So what type of job you speak to customers, to clients? Or in letter D, it says every day this person works from home. I need my computer. So what type of people? Well, now it's very common to use a computer and work in your house. So tell me all the possible jobs. Or it says we start working at 10 p.m. So what jobs do you think work at 10 p.m.? And I go to different country every month. What type of people travels to different countries a lot? So you have 2 minutes to write all the possible jobs for each letter. Okay, class, let's share some ideas, right? So I need different volunteers to tell me possible jobs that represent these definitions or sentences, okay? So let me see, any volunteers? Okay, Manuel, what is the letter that you have?
There are D.
Okay.
Designers.
Okay, designer, very good. Any other possibility?
Programmers.
Okay, programmers. Right, very good. Anything else, Manuel, about this letter D?
I don't know.
Okay, but that's fine. Designers and programmers, that's fine. Yes, they need computers, right? Basically, for their jobs. Thank you, Manuel. We have now a Genesis. Okay, Genesis.
Letter A. Police, chef, dentist, cleaner.
All right, very good, excellent. Yes, in all of these examples, they need, of course, a uniform, right? And more, very good. Thank you, Genesis. And we continue now with Astrid. What's the letter, Astrid?
Letter B.
Okay.
Businesswoman.
Businesswoman, that's correct. Anything else?
Photographer.
Photographer. No, I don't think so. No, but businesswoman is better, right? Yes, for clients or customers. That's fine. Thank you, Astrid. And we have now Kemner. Kemner, what is another letter that you have?
F.
F.
Job. Archaeology. Photography.
Letter F, right? Okay, archaeologist. Okay, maybe. So archaeologist. Yeah, that's fine. Any other possibility? Photographer is also possible, right? Photographer. Yes. Anything else? No. Okay, but that's fine. Archaeologist or photographer. Yeah, because yes, they have to go to different countries for their jobs, right? Maybe. Thank you so much. And I need other volunteers maybe for letter E, right? It says, we usually start about 10 p.m. What jobs do you think start at this time, 10 p.m. at night? Possible ideas?
Musician.
Musician, that's fine, very good, right? You know, well, now is different in this time, but usually, like normally, yes, musician, right? Very good. Musician can be possible. Any
Work from home?
Work from home. Well, yes, so it includes many people, right? So let's put it here. Let's put in general, people who work from home. Yes, because when you say this, as Camila mentioned, now a lot of people in this period, that's a special period, a lot of people work from home, different jobs. So maybe some of these jobs maybe start at this time, 10 p.m., right? That's possible. Okay, thank you so much. So look, we have lots of ideas, right? And yeah, all of them make sense, right? I mean, there are more, of course. The possibilities are actually very big. So we have those things, right? Okay, so thank you for the people here that helped me with some ideas. So in this case, we have remembered how to use these questions and answers. And also we have remembered vocabulary about jobs, professions, right? So look, in this case, we have some vocabulary from last class. For example, if we can talk about this post office, right? Like in the first example, or we can have a school, like in the second example, or library. We also check this place, right? Hairdressers with the apostrophe, right? And we also checked the second part, right? Cinema. We have chemist. And remember, you can say chemist and pharmacy. Both are correct, right? Chemistry, chemist or pharmacy. Another thing that we checked was this one, right? Similar to Spanish, supermarket, for example, or we have hospital, museum, right? That's the pronunciation, right? Museum. We checked also theater, right? Remember the pronunciation here is right? Theater. We have bank, or finally we have shopping center or mall, because we use mall, right? So you can say shopping center or you can say mall, right? So that's what we checked last class. And also we checked the first part, well, the difference here, right? Remember, hairdresser is a person. And if you say hairdressers with the apostrophe, it means the place, right? Another thing that it's important to remember is this. Last class, we talked about like an introduction of there is and there are, right? So let's remember, when you say there is, it's because it's singular. And when you use there are, it's because it's plural, right? So we have basically that there is and there are. We have also the negative form. So let's remember, if it's negative, you say isn't or aren't, right? So you have those. And if you want to use some, it's possible to use some in plural, positive only, right? You can say there are some apples, for example. So plural, and there are, so it's positive. Or if you want to use any, it's because it's plural, but it's negative or questions. Maybe you can say, there aren't any chairs. Or you can say a question, are there any, I don't know, any sandwiches, for example? So anything that is plural, right? You have positive some, negative and questions for any. So this is basically what we practiced, right, last class. So let's continue checking this, and we're going to, we are here, right, in this page. Just a moment. All right. So look, we're going to check this page 37, right? So on page 37, we have this exercise 10. So let's complete this together. In this part, right, you had to use a positive, negative, or questions, right? And you have to use there is or there are. So let me give you some minutes, maybe 5 minutes, so you can complete this exercise here, right? Continue, please. This is on page 37, right? This is exercise number 10. Okay, class, let's check some ideas, okay? So I need some volunteers. We have from number 2 until number 10. So let's check. We start with Genesis. Okay, Genesis.
Number 3 is there isn't.
Okay, so let's check together here. Very good. That's correct. Thank you, Genesis. We continue now with Araceli.
Number 4, there are.
Okay, let's check here. That's correct. Thank you so much. We now have Manuel.
Number 5.
Okay.
There aren't.
That's correct. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, here you don't have the space, but as you can see in yellow, that's the answer, right? Thank you, Manuel. We continue with Marco.
Number 2, there are.
Okay, we have that's correct. Thank you so much, Marco. We continue with Fernanda.
Number 6 is there.
Number 6, right? Okay. You said there is there. Number 6. Okay. But look, if you say is, when you start with a verb to be is or are, is only for a question. So is there is a question. If you put it in sentence, you say there is. You say there is or there are for sentences, right? Okay, so in this case, we have there are. Let's continue with Angela.
Number H.
Okay.
No, there isn't.
Okay, so we have there is. That's correct. Thank you, Angela. And I need a volunteer for number 7, number 9, or number 10. Manuel, what number do you have?
Number 7.
Okay.
Is there?
Okay, so in this case, yes, we have this order, right? Because you have a question. So remember, for a question, you say is there or are there. Thank you, Manuel. Next one is for Fernando.
In 9, there is.
Okay, number 9, right? All right. There are, because it's plural, right? It says 7 stations, right? Okay, so that's what we have. Thank you. And number 10. Any volunteer for number 10? Okay. For example, in number 10, the word that you have to pay attention is someone. So do you think this someone is plural, singular, and it's positive also? Okay, let me ask one person, right? Felipe, what's your idea about number 10?
There are.
Sorry, can you repeat?
There are.
Okay, so let's check. There is. But let's check why, all right? Let's check everything, actually. So look, class, we're going to check from number 2 until number 10, why we are using these. So please pay attention, especially if you have some incorrect answer, pay attention to why we use there is or there are. I am going to put here in red the example. For example, it says there are. Why there are? Because we are talking about kilometers. Kilometers is plural. So positive plural, there are, right? Let's talk about number 2. It's positive and it says 40 cinemas. Cinemas is plural, positive, so you say there are. Let's see number 3. It says negative and it says an underground. An, so it's an. When you say a or an, it's because it's only one. So in this case, it says an underground. So it's one negative, so you say there isn't, right? Then we have also number 4, right? It says there are lots of hotels. Yes, because here hotels is plural, positive plural, you say there are. In number 5, we have negative, and it says schools, right? So as you have schools, you can say there are. Look, I'm going to show you here. There aren't, right? Why? Because it's negative, and also schools is plural. If it's positive, you say there are, plural, schools. But if it's negative, you say there aren't, right? And look, here we use any. Any is possible, remember, when you have negative plural. Let's remember now, let's see number 6. It says there are universities. So here is plural, universities. Plural and it's positive. So you say there are. In number 7, is a question and you have an airport. If it's an, it's only one airport. So the question in singular, you say is there, right? In number 8, you have a negative. And the question is there. So if the question is there, when you answer, you can say, yes, there is, or no, there aren't, or there isn't. In this case, it's negative, so you say, no, there isn't. Number 9, it says underground stations. So you have stations, plural, right? So stations, 7 stations, plural. So you say there are. And finally, number 10, it says someone. When I say someone, is one person. That's why you say one, someone, one person. So it's singular. So if it's singular, positive, you say there is, right? So these are the reasons that we have for the answers in this case. Remember, this is the topic that we are practicing. There is when it's only one, singular, and you have there are when it's plural, right? And the negative, there isn't and there aren't, right? So let's continue practicing this section. Before we continue, any question you have about any exercise? Is there anything that is maybe you need to repeat? Anything? All right, so no? Okay. So let's continue then. Yes, anybody was, I think, speaking? No, right? Oh.
Teacher,
So look, yes, Felipe.
yo pensé que era there, por ejemplo, cuando decía million people.
Yeah, okay. No, it's always the word that is next, el que está más cercano, porque ese there is o there are es el que afecta a lo que le sigue. Porque en este caso es because you, this is like another part, es otra cosa, solamente es la primera parte.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay, yes. So it's always important to pay attention to the part that is like near. It's the word that is affected, right? So yeah, we have those ideas. So look, class, we're going to continue practicing here. And I think that we haven't completed this part, right? So please, can you go to page 142? And one question, class. Have we checked this part? I don't remember. This is on page 142. Have we completed this section or not? ¿Ya hicimos esto o no? ¿Alguien me lo puede confirmar?
No, teacher.
No? Okay, thank you. All right. Sí, les preguntaba porque yo creo que les comenté antes, yo tengo 2 clases de básico 2 y a veces me confundo y no sé cuál hice con qué, pero okay, thank you so much. All right, so let's then do this first part. Look, let's continue practicing the use of there is and there are. In this section, we have these 10 exercises and we continue practicing, right? So here we have to complete with positive or negative or question, right? For example, number 1 is a question. So if it's a question and it's one hospital, you say is there, right? In number 2, let me give you the example in number 2. It says lots of hotels. So hotels is plural. So in that case, this is plural and it's positive. So you say there are because it's lots of hotels, it's plural, right? So please continue and check if you have negative, positive questions, okay? And you can complete. I'll give you 3 minutes to check this first section. Okay, class, let's see. I need some volunteers so we can check together and we're going to see why we use one or the other. Let's see, we start with Angela. Angela, what do you think?
Number 3.
Okay.
Is there?
That's fine. Very good. Thank you, Angela. We continue now with Araceli.
Number 4, are there?
That's correct. Thank you so much. We continue with Desiree.
Number 5, there is.
Okay, so we have there is. That's correct. Thank you, Desiree. We continue with Genesis.
Number 6 is there aren't.
There aren't, right. Yes, that's correct. Thank you. And we continue with, let me check the person. One moment, please. Fernando, continue. Okay, number 7, right? So that's correct. Thank you so much. We continue now with Manuel.
Number 8, there aren't.
Okay, so that's...
No,
okay.
are there.
Yeah, it's a question, right? It's correct to use are, but it's a question. Thank you so much. We continue with Marco.
Number 9, there isn't.
Okay, so we have here, there isn't. That's correct. Thank you. So in a moment, we're going to explain why negative, right? Thank you, Marco. And finally, we have Camila.
Are there a factory in my town?
Well, if you say are there, it's a question. When you say are there or is there.
Sorry.
Okay, so it can be there are or there is. In this case, we say there is because it says only one, right? One factory. So that's why. All right. So thank you for your participation. And look, class, we're going to check why again, right? In number one, we talk about a hospital. So only one hospital. So if it's only one hospital, it needs a question, right? You need to say is there, right? If it's not a question, you can say there is, right? So there is or there are is for like sentences positive. But if you have a question, you have to change the order. So you can say is there or are there. Let's check number two. It says lots of hotels. So hotels is plural. So you can say there are because it's plural and it's positive. In number three, you have a library. So a is only one, a library. It's only one and it's a question. So you say is there because it's one question. Number four, you have any trees, right? So trees is for plural, and we know it's a plural question, so you have are there. And remember, any is possible to use when you have a question or negative, right? In plural. Number five, it says a kitchen. So kitchen is one. So you can say there is a kitchen, right? Number six, it says here, there are, right? Let me show you here. There aren't, right? There aren't any trains. Why in this case is negative? Because you have, look at this word, any. So this word any is important. When you see the word any, it's because it's negative, right? So that's why I'm going to type it here, right? There aren't, so you can see it. Again, it's negative because we have any. Any is for negative. And in this case, is plural, trains. So you say there aren't any trains. Number seven, you have a chemist. So one chemist. So you say there is. In the case of number eight, is a question, and you say here hotels, right? So hotels is plural, so you say are there. And also you have any. Any, remember, it's for negative and for question when it's plural. Number nine, in this case, it says a museum or theater. So I think it's boring. So if you think it's boring, it's because maybe there isn't, right? There isn't a museum. So I'm going to put it here. There isn't. So there is no entertainment, right? So there isn't a museum or theater. And number 10, we have a factory. So factory is one factory. So you say there is, right? So that's basically what we have in this part one, right, class? Let's continue now with the next part. And in this next section, we have, let me see the next part. We have to do this, right, in part two. In part two, we're going to remember or check how we answer the sentences when they are short. So we're going to practice short answers. For example, I can say, is there a toilet in the cinema? If it's yes, you can say, yes, there is. Or if it's no, you can say, no, there isn't, right? The same happens when it's plural. For example, are there any shops open now? This is a question in plural. So if I say, are there? And if it's no, I can say, no, there aren't, right? So this is, for example, what you have. So please read the questions and you have to answer. If you see a check, is positive, and if you see a cross, is negative. Okay, class, continue, please. You have 2 minutes for exercise number 2. Okay, class, let's check together. So let's see some volunteers. Remember, it's short answers. You can say there is, there are, there aren't, there isn't. So let's start with Fernando. Fernando, what do you have?
And number 3, yes, they are.
Okay, so that's correct. Just one moment. I can show it. Okay. But yeah, it's correct. I don't know why it's not working, but wait. Uh, Okay, so I don't know, se ha congelado no reacciona, o sea, se mueve, pero no reaccionan los mandos, pero, okay, it's correct, right? De repente espera un ratito y ya va a reaccionar. Okay, so let's see, let's continue with, let me check. Angela, right? Okay, Angela, what do you think?
Number 4. Not there isn't.
Okay, that's correct. Very good. So yes, because the question is with is there, so you say negative, not there isn't. That's correct. Thank you. So let me check who's next. Kemner, what do you think, Kemner?
Number 5 is yes, they are.
Okay, number 5, right? That's correct. So in this case, oh yeah, it's react. Okay, yes, very good. Because the question here, you have are there. So when you say yes, you say yes there. Thank you, Kemner. We continue with Camila. What do you have, Camila, number 6?
Yes, there is.
So that's correct, right? Because the question is singular, the answer is singular, positive. Thank you, Camila. Next person is Genesis.
Is no, there aren't.
That's correct. Because the question here is are there? So it's a plural question, so the answer is also plural, negative, right? Thank you, Genesis. And finally, we have, I don't know, number 8.
Number 8 is yes, there are.
That's correct. Very good. Thank you. So as you can see, class, in these cases, when you have short answers, you can say only yes or no. But to ask short answers complete, you can say, remember, if the question is plural and your answer is plural, you can say yes, there are. If the question is plural and your answer is plural negative, you can say, for example, there aren't. No, there aren't. Or if the question, for example, in number 4 is singular, is there, and you answer no, you can say no, there isn't. Or if it's positive, you can say yes, there is. So it depends if it's positive or if it's negative, and plural or singular, right? Okay, so thank you for the people that participated. And you're going to have number 3 as homework, right? So please, this number 3 is for you to practice. So tomorrow we check the answer. So this is homework, okay, class? All right, let's continue. And now I'll show you this extra activity, all right? So let's practice about the use of there is or there are. And as we practice, let me show you this section, right? Just a moment. Okay, look, we're going to practice together, and I need participation of any of you. Listen to the instruction. You have to pay attention to all the objects that you can see in this living room. This is a room, living room. Let me tell you some vocabulary. For example, these are sofas, this is an armchair, this is a plant, we have a lamp, we have these pictures, windows, table, carpet, floor. Okay, we have many objects, right? So what do you have to do? You have to tell me some sentences, one sentence. But about this, for example, you can say, there's is like there is, sure. I can see a table, right? So I can say maybe there's a table. This is a table. That's right. Or if it's plural, there are 2 sofas. This is correct because we have 1 sofa, another sofa. 2 sofas there are. Or maybe there isn't. Let's see. There isn't, I don't know, fruit. So maybe I can say there isn't fruit. Because yeah, I don't see fruit here, so there isn't fruit. Or maybe I can say there aren't any people, right? Yes, so as one of you mentioned, you can say any is optional, right? You can say there aren't people or there aren't any. people. All right? So as you see, these are some examples. I have positive, table, singular, plural, sofas. There isn't fruit. I don't see fruit. And there aren't people, right? So now I need some volunteers to please tell me. It can be one. Positive, negative, question. No, no question. Positive, negative, plural, or singular. So any ideas, class? So we can participate. Manuel, what is your idea?
In this room, there isn't TV.
Very good, that's correct. We don't see any, right? So we can say there isn't a TV, right? That's correct, thank you. So we continue now with, wait, let me check something. There isn't a fruit. Yeah, we have to use our and, right? Okay, thank you, Manuel. We continue with Genesis. Okay, Genesis, what is your sentence?
There is a photo.
This one, right? Yes, very good. So you can say there's a photo or photograph, right? Or picture, right? So you can say there's a photograph, there's a picture. Okay, that's correct. Thank you. And we continue with, yeah, no, Araceli, right? Okay, Araceli, what do you think?
In this room, there are 4 books or magazines.
That's correct. Yes, we have books or magazines, right? So there are books or magazines. That's right. Thank you. And we continue with Fernando. What is your sentence, Fernando?
There isn't house on the ground.
There isn't house on the ground. What do you mean? House?
House on the ground.
I don't understand house on the ground. What do you want to explain? Because I don't understand your idea because this is a living room and you have to see on the living room if you have positive objects, singular or plural, or negative. Maybe you don't see something. So any idea, Fernando?
There is a lamp.
Okay, that's very good. So yes, we can see a lamp here in the corner, right? So yep, a lamp. That's right. Thank you, Fernando. We continue now with Yesire. What's your sentence, Yesire?
In this room, there are 2 cups.
Oh, okay. You mean this, Yesire? This, right?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, very good. So glasses, we can say, right? So there are 2 glasses, all right? Excellent, that's correct. Let's say 2 glasses, right? That's right, thank you so much. We continue now with Marco. Marco, what is your sentence?
There is a flower.
Okay, yes, a plant, right? So yeah, let's see, plant. Or a flower too, right? Yes, that's correct. A flower. Thank you so much. Then we continue with Kemner. What's your sentence, Kemner?
There are 4 pictures.
That's correct. Pictures, right? Yes, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And oh, 5. 4 pictures. That's right. Yeah, because this is a photograph, right? Okay. Thank you, Kemner. That's correct. So let me put it here. 4 pictures. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm going to put it here. Maybe there's no space. Okay. Thank you. And we have now Camila. What's your example, Camila?
In this room, there isn't a mirror.
Okay, that's correct. So yes, a mirror. Yep, there are no mirrors, right? So that's correct. Thank you so much. And finally, we have Marcel. What's your sentence, Marcel?
In this room, there is a wood floor.
Okay, that's correct. Very good. So yes, the material, wood, and then floor. That's right. Thank you so much. So yeah, That's correct, right? So we have different ideas. As you can see, in the picture, we can see there's a lamp, a flower here, we have a table, we have the wood floor. This is the floor. Wood is the material, so that's correct. We have a photograph and or picture, right? In the case of there are, plural, so you say 2 sofas, 1 and 2, 4 pictures, 1, 2, 3, 4 pictures, books and magazines, that's correct, and 2 glasses. So this is glass number 1 and this is glass number 2. And in negative singular, there isn't a fruit. Yeah, no fruit, no TV, no mirror, so no, there isn't. And there aren't, we don't see people, so empty, right? That's correct. Okay, guys, very good. So, see, thank you for your participation. So we can continue with the next part, right? So to finish with this, there is or there are topic, let me show you this part, right? So I need you to work in groups or in pairs, right? So what do you have to do? You have to work in your groups and you have to do this exercise. It's very simple. It's only speaking, right? The question is there a, oh, only this because it's all of this is singular. So you say, is there a? So in this case, we are going to remember the name of the places, right? So what is it? Well, school is one. We have the name of the places here or the other. Let me show you an example. So I am in group and I say, is there a, and I say school. Look, in the way that I say school, this is a check. If you see a check, the answer is positive. If I say, for example, this is a swimming pool, right? So if I say, is there a swimming pool? What do you have here? It's a cross. So if it's a cross, your answer is negative, right? So if I say, is there a school? You say, yes, there is. Or if I say, is there a swimming pool? Do you see this is negative? So I say, no, there isn't, all right? That's the only thing we're going to do, all right, class? Please, I want you to take a picture of this or a screenshot because you're going to work in groups. This is not in the book, right? This is extra. So please take a picture of the pictures of this picture and you can work in groups, okay? So let's see. You are right now 13, right? So you're going to work in groups of 3 and in pairs. All right, okay? Yes, you take a picture? Yes, okay, let's start. And I'll give you 3 minutes so you can ask questions. Remember, the question is there? And you answer, yes, there is, or if it's an X, you say, no, there isn't, right? Okay, so let's start. Okay, so you're here again. Let me ask now some people, right? Okay, we start with Yesire, all right? Okay, Yesire, the question is, okay, let me see. Is there a library?
No, there isn't.
Right, very good, thank you. So yeah, because we have an X and it's the library, right? Thank you. Let's continue now with, let's see, Astrid. Astrid, tell me, is there a museum?
Yes, there is.
That's correct. Thank you so much. We now have the next person, Felipe. Felipe, is there a park?
Yes, there is.
Right. Thank you so much. We have now the next person, Camila. Okay, Camila, is there a hotel?
No, there isn't.
That's correct. Thank you, Camila. Next person is Aaron. Aaron, is there a hospital?
Yes, there is.
Right. Thank you so much. And I think the last one is for Fernando. Fernando, is there a supermarket?
Yes, there is.
Right. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's it, right? As you see, this is simple activity, but it's important to remember, right? When you have short sentences, you say, yes, there is, no, there isn't, singular, or if it's plural, you can say yes, there are, no, there aren't. That's it, right? Okay, so we finished with this topic of there is and there are. So remember, you have only the homework, right? For next class, for tomorrow. Okay, now let me show you more vocabulary because today we're going to see different other vocabulary, especially about vocabulary in your house or in your apartment, right? So to that, let's start with these pictures here. All right, wait. Let me show you first the other picture, one moment. And this is the one that you have in your book, right? But wait. Okay. So look, class, we have to check the difference between what is a house and what is a flat, right? As you see in the picture, this is like a representation of a house, right? It's like only one group, right? It's a separated part. You can have a house of 1 floor, 2 floors, 3 floors, maybe. And if you talk about a flat, this word flat, I think we use in Spanish. You say my flat sometimes. But a flat is a synonym of apartment. I have a flat or I have an apartment. Today, we're going to use the word flat, right? It's a synonym of apartment, right? So this is a main difference, right? So to continue, we have in your book this page, right? So before we talk about different things, let's talk about number 1. This is on page 38. So please, let's go to page 38. And you are going to complete this information about you. So you have to write some ideas about you, your information. For example, it says, I live in a house or a flat. And you have to think here, I live with. When you say I live with, you have to mention the people, right? So I'm going to put here people. So in other words, it means people. All right. It means that in my case, I can say I live in a flat and I live with my mother and my sister. People, right? So you have to think about you. And then it says in my house or in my flat, and you can use there is or there are, and you mention all the rooms in your house. You can say, I have a kitchen, I have a living room, a bathroom, dining room. Maybe you have 3 bedrooms, maybe you have 1 toilet, 2 bathrooms, all the rooms that you have in your house. Okay, class? So I'll give you 3 minutes maybe to write some ideas about you and complete this information. Okay, continue please.
Hoy la misma.
Se salió, creo, de
Internet.
casualidad.
Su internet, creo.
Ajá. Sí, creo que sí.
Oiga, ¿quién explica entonces?
¿Qué se tiene que hacer? Está fuera de nota.
No, es que la mía se fue.
Y cuando sucede eso, quiere decir
Volver
que hay una corriente.
bueno, hacer que la mía se pueda conectar
Y
ella
esta
misma.
corriente, la corriente que atraviesa el mundo,
¿Y la profesora?
es
Ah, pensé que era mi internet.
Sí,
Vamos a
parece
ver
que
si
se le
me
cayó el
cae.
internet.
Entonces, esta corriente
El mío también.
¿Hicieron las oraciones?
¿Quién hace el profe?
la costa que van a quedar del mar.
¿Quién tiene la condición para ser profesor?
Yo.
Ahora el profe diga que.
Ya, I need some volunteers.
Sí, va con los voluntarios, ¿no?
Manuel. Number 1.
I live in a house.
Entra la
¿Ya?
profesora.
Y entra la
¿Ya?
profesora.
Ya te sustituyeron ya.
Okay, hello class. I'm sorry, there was a problem with the internet, and my internet, I don't know, disappeared, and I was like trying to enter, right? Okay, I'm sorry.
Sí, me
Okay,
estás sustituyendo.
ya. Sí, automáticamente cuando se va la conexión, se le ponen a alguien como encargado de la sala. Okay, so let's continue, right? Okay, class, so I need your
Tuvo el
participation.
poder.
I need some volunteers to tell me about your ideas, right? So you have to tell me, remember, I live in a flat, for example. I live with people in your house. And then you say the parts of the house, right? So any volunteers to participate? Let's see. Okay, we start with Marco. Marco, tell us your examples, please.
Good. I live in a flat. I live with my parents and my sister.
Right.
In my flat, there are one bedrooms, two tables,
Okay.
one kitchen, two
Mhm.
rooms, one closet, and a AC.
Okay, that's right. Thank you so much, Marco, for your examples. So that was about Marco, right? Thank you. And we continue with Manuel. Manuel, what are your examples, your sentences?
I live in a house. I live with my parents and my brother.
Right.
In my house, there is a kitchen, a bedroom, and office. And there are three bedrooms.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Manuel, for sharing. That's right. And let's see, next person is Genesis. Okay, Genesis, what's your example?
I live in a house. I live with my parents and my sister. In my house, there is a kitchen, a living room, a bathroom, a dining room. There are three bedrooms, three closets, and a laundry room.
Okay, very nice. Thank you so much, Genesis, for your examples. We continue now with Kemner. Okay, Kemner.
I live in flat. I live alone. In my flat there is a chicken, is a living room. There are two bedrooms. There are two bathrooms.
Okay, all right, very good. Thank you, Kemner, for your ideas. And let's continue with Angela. Okay, Angela.
Live in house. I live with my parents, my brother, and my sister. In my house, there is a kitchen, there is a living room, there is a dining room, there is a gym, there are two bathrooms, there are three bedrooms, and finally.
Okay, all right, that's correct. Thank you so much, Angela. And we continue now with Araceli. Okay, Araceli.
Okay. I live in a house. I live with my parents and sister. In my house, there is a kitchen, a living room, four no, four bathrooms, four bedroom.
Oh, that's it. Okay, thank you. Oh yeah, look, when you finish, you when so I know you can say and in the other. So I know that you finished. Great. Thank you, Araceli. And we continue now with Astrid. Astrid, what do you have?
I live in flat.
Okay.
I live with my parents, my siblings, and my pet.
Mm-hmm.
In my flat, there is a kitchen, a dining room, and there are 3 bedrooms and 4 TVs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much, Astrid, for your comments. And finally, we have Marcel. What's your idea, Marcel?
I live in a flat. I live with my mom, my my sister, my nephew, and brother-in-law. In my flat, there is a kitchen, a living room, 1 bathroom, 3 bedrooms, and dining room.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Marcel, for all your comments. And thank you for the people that participated right here. So look, you told me different ideas, right? But we have to check something, especially the pronunciation of this word. Some people had like a different pronunciation. Look, I'm going to write how you pronounce this word. We have this word, and we have also this word. The pronunciation is different, right? In the first word, you say, like here, for example, you say live only, like this, live, right? And the second, you say life, right? So this is more or less how you pronounce this word, right? So one is live and the other is life. So that's it. What is the difference? The first, if you say live, that is a verb, right? So the action, when you are talking about the action or the verb, I'm going to put here. So that's a verb. And if you say life, you say my life. So that is a noun, right? So that is the difference between one or the other. In this case, this is a verb. I say, I live, right? So you say, I live, right? And that's it. All right, class? Very good. So look, um, also, I think that you, in most of the cases, I think you use this word correctly, right? So there is for one specific. And when you say there are, is because you mention plural forms, right? So that's basically what we have. Okay, so look, in this section, we are going to talk about a lot of vocabulary, as you can see. So before we check this, let me give you some, or show you some vocabulary about parts of the house or places, right? For example, let's see, just a moment. Okay, look, I'm going to show you general vocabulary, right, about parts of the house. Today we're going to see the parts of the house and also some objects or things that you have in your house, in specific rooms, right? So let's check the first. This is a sofa, right, as you know. We have a lamp. We have an armchair. Look, there is a difference between sofa and armchair. When you say armchair, is only for one person, right? And sofa is for 2 or 3 or more people, right? So that's the difference. This is not a sofa, this is an armchair, right? So that's it. We have a lamp. The other that we have here is a shelf, right? Or shelves. You can say maybe that everything is a shelf with F, or if it's plural, you can say one shelf, 2 shelves, 3 shelves. So the shelves are these parts, right? Where you put objects or things. So maybe a shelf, you have it in your bedroom or in your living room, right? We have this table, right, in the next one. And then we have this word also where you put your clothes. In this case, you can say this is a closet, right? Or you can say also a wardrobe, right? So both are correct. You can say closet, you can say wardrobe, right? The next picture, right? It's a bed, as you know. And let's continue here. Look, as you know here, wardrobe. So you can say wardrobe or a synonym is closet. Both are correct. The other one is a bed, as you know, in your bedroom. We have also this, a desk, right? So this is a desk. And this one, for example, is a coffee table. And a coffee table is common in your living room, for example, right? So it's in the center of your living room, usually. So that's a coffee table. And then we have cupboards. So these are cupboards, right? You put dishes, glasses, and more. And this is common in your kitchen, right? In your kitchen, you have cupboards, right? So as you see, we have general vocabulary about objects, right, in your house. Let me show you here more examples, right? More vocabulary. Okay, just a moment. Okay, all right. So look, this one, for example, as you know, represents the kitchen, right? And in the kitchen, we have different objects. For example, these are cupboards, you see? So in the cupboards, you put dishes, you put bowls, you put cups and more, right? So these are cupboards, and this is the kitchen, the room. This is another room, and this is the living room, right? So here, as you see, is the biggest, supposedly the biggest space that you have in your house. This one is the dining room. So it's a place especially to eat, right? To have lunch, breakfast maybe. So this is a dining. That's a pronunciation, right? So dining room. Then we have this bathroom and a toilet. And we're going to see what is the difference between bathroom and toilet. Let me explain. For example, in your bathroom is usually bigger. But apart from that, in the bathroom, you have this, the name of this only is a toilet. You can say this is a toilet. So in the bathroom, you have a toilet and you have this, a sink. So you can wash your hands. This is a sink. And also, as you can see here, this is the shower, right? So in the shower, you can wash all your body, right? So you have a toilet, you have a sink, and you have a shower. So you have these three things. So you consider this is a bathroom. And the difference with a toilet is in the toilet, you only have the toilet and the sink. You don't have a shower. That is the basic difference between a bathroom and a toilet, right? So usually the toilet is smaller, only the toilet and the sink. But as you see in the bathroom, it includes the toilet, the sink, and the shower, right? So this is another difference that we have. Let's see another room. We have, for example, your bedroom, right? And as you can see, here we have a wardrobe or a closet, right? And more things. This is an office or a studio. You can say both, right? So usually here you have maybe your computer, your laptop, and your things to study, maybe, right? So that's a studio or an office. Maybe you have a garden in your house, a small garden, a big garden, maybe. This one is more common, as you can see, when you live in a flat, right? Or in a it's similar to a hotel. But sometimes if you live in a flat, you have a hall and you can walk on the hall, right? And you have people living here, right? We have a balcony, right? A garage, right? Okay, so again, let me show you more vocabulary of furniture. So as I told you in this new page, we're going to see a different words, right? Again, we have an
Ya,
armchair for one
ejercicios,
person,
ahorita.
a sofa for two or more people, and a chair, right?
Tú no
Those are
mandas, yo
different
mando.
things.
¿Me
All of
entiendes?
them, you can sit down in these, but the words are different, right? Let's check other words, right? As I told you before, shelf. I mean, you can say this is one shelf, two shelf, another shelf. So all of these objects, you can say this is a shelf. If you want to say in plural, you say shelves, right? So it can be plural or singular. Again, this is a wardrobe or closet, right? That you have in your bedroom. Let's check the difference also between a bath and a shower. So this is a bath, right? Sometimes in your bathroom, you have this. So in this case, you can like enter to the bath and you can have a shower, let's say, you can relax in this bath. But other bathrooms don't have a bath, only a shower. So this is only for you, right? And in some cases, you can have both. Some people have a bath and a shower together. So these are the differences in the pictures, right? Another extra vocabulary is, for example, the name of this. Sometimes you have curtains. This is more common, but also more modern version is blinds. So blinds, usually you can pull the blind, right? So it's like covers everything and opens. So these are blinds, these are curtains, right? A picture, right? You can say a picture, or you can say also paintings, both. These objects is a vase, right? I mean, these are flowers, right? But this is a vase, so you can say vase. And this is a fan, right? Usually you use a fan in summer because it's very hot. So you use a fan, right? So again, this is vocabulary that you maybe can check, right? New vocabulary program. Let me show you more vocabulary here, right? If, for example, let's wait. Right. Look, let me show you this. We have two pictures. The second picture is, I think it's familiar for us. We have a washing machine. I think this washing machine is common. You can wash your clothes, right? So yeah, I think no problem. But look, this is another machine. In this case, this is a dishwasher. Maybe this is not very common in Peru, I think. But in other countries, this is very common. So look at this. You eat everything and then you put your dish or your everything, you put it in this machine and then you close it and it washes everything. So it's like the same, but the washing machine is for the clothes and the dishwasher is for dishes, vases, fork, spoons, all the things related to food, right? So a dishwasher is in your kitchen if you have one, right? So this is what you have also. So vocabulary. Let me show you other vocabulary section. Look, we have this place. Again, in Peru, it's not very common to have this place, but in other countries, you have this, right? And the name of this place is laundrette. So a laundrette is a place where you use your clothes, right? And you put your clothes and you wash your clothes. And usually you need money. You put coins, right? You need money and you can wash your clothes. You can wash and you can dry also your clothes, right? So this is it's popular. These laundrettes are popular in other countries. In Peru, it's not popular, right? But in other countries, you can use this service of laundrette, right? So this is what we have here, right? Okay, and before we start, in a moment, we are going to have a reading. And in this reading, we are going to check this. The reading that we are going to have in the book is about a microflat. So what is a microflat? It's the micro, right? Very small. So a microflat is, this is a representation. Usually it's only one room. And in this one room, one space, small space, you have like everything that you need. For example, look, this is like a mini living room, and then you go, this is your bedroom, and maybe this is a bathroom, and also you have a kind of a kitchen and dining room. So you have everything in one room, right? So usually the micro flats are for people that live only one person alone, right? So these micro flats are very popular, right? In Peru, I think, or in many other countries, because people don't have space, right? Or don't have money, because these micro flats are cheap. So you can use that, right? And before we start, let me show you some extra vocabulary, specifically about the bathroom, right? So look, a mirror, right? That's a mirror. This is a sink, right? So in the sink, you can wash your hands, right? You have a bath again. This is the toilet, as I told you before. And maybe you can have this cabinet. In the cabinet, maybe you can put toilet paper and more creams, maybe, and more, right? Okay, so I show you a lot of vocabulary in this part. So we are ready to check some ideas. Please, let's continue here. in your book, and we have page 38, right? So this is the first thing. Click, we'll go here to exercise number 4. In exercise number 4, we have these words, right? So what do you have to do? You have to read the text and identify all the vocabulary that you can recognize about parts of the house or about objects, right? Let me give you some examples. This is one, flat. Flat is a word that we have, right? Or maybe you tell me, let's see, garage, for example, right? So please, you have to underline or circle all the vocabulary that we checked, all the vocabulary that you can identify about rooms in the house and objects that you have. Okay, so I'll give you 2 minutes to circle or underline this vocabulary. Okay, let's share some ideas. Remember, you have to tell me what is the vocabulary about parts of the house or objects or things, okay? So let's see. We start with any volunteer? Marco, what's your idea?
One, the word is on.
What?
On.
On. Okay, listen to the instruction. I told you, you don't have to complete the numbers. No, we haven't talked about that. You have to tell me to identify vocabulary of parts of the house or objects. Only that, okay?
Okay.
For example, you have garage or flat. Any other that you can identify? Okay, so maybe next person, right? Astrid, what do you think?
Bed.
Okay, yes, that's possible, right? So where is it? Let me check. What part is that?
My bed is on a shelf.
Yeah, I see, I see. Thank you so much. Yes, I couldn't see it. Very good. Yes, bed is correct, right? It's a part, it's one thing that you have in your bedroom, for example. Then we continue with Manuel. What is other word, Manuel?
Kitchen.
Where?
Kitchen.
Kitchen, right, that's correct. So yes, it's here, right? Thank you, that's fine. So yes, this is a part of the house. We continue with Genesis. Okay, Genesis.
Shelf.
Right, shelf, that's correct. So here, right, we have 2 words actually. So yes, that's fine. Okay, we continue with Araceli.
Toilet.
Toilet, that's correct. So we have toilet over here. Thank you. Next is Angela.
Carpet.
Carpet, that's fine. So let me check where is the carpet here, right? Thank you, that's fine. We have now Felipe. What's the word, Felipe?
Armchair.
Armchair, that's fine. So let me see where it is. Oh, here, yes, I found it. Thank you so much. That's right. We have now Aaron. Okay, Aaron, what's the word?
Room. One room. This.
Oh yeah, room. Okay, room is kind of general. That's right. Let's now have Kemner. Okay, Kemner.
Shower.
Shower. That's fine. Very good. Thank you, Kemner. And finally, we have Marco. Okay, Marco.
Washing machine.
That's right. So it's here, right? Very good. Excellent. And like that, we have more, right? So let's see. Marcel, what's your idea?
Dishwasher.
Right, we have a dishwasher as we check. Remember I showed you the picture of a dishwasher? So yeah, that's fine. And there are more, right? For example, let me put it here. We have a sink, right? I show you a picture of a sink. We have a fridge, a cooker also, right? What other things you have? Well, window, yeah, maybe that's vocabulary too. We have floor, right? It's also parts. We have table, we have television. Yeah, that's it, right? Studio, right? Also, studio flat. Well, you have shelf, right? The kitchen also. Yeah, that's basically that, right? Okay, so look, we have lots of ideas of the vocabulary that I showed you, right? Parts of the house, for example, kitchen, living room, dining room, or others, bedroom. And we have objects that we have in the house, for example, bed, shower, fridge, television, and more, right? So tomorrow, we're going to continue doing the exercise. This is only to identify vocabulary, but tomorrow we're going to continue specifically with these prepositions. So we're going to see in what cases we use next to, behind, opposite, between, and more. Okay, class? So that's it. Thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Take care.
See you tomorrow, teacher.
Bye.
See
See
Bye,
you.
teacher.